What's up?
All right. Welcome, everybody, to another BDA Boxing podcast, broadcasting to you live from the true north. This is your friend, Mr. BDA. And alongside with me, as always, my co-host, the one, the only King, Bucho. King, you're there?
Yes, sir.
Fantastic. I also see we already got Recognize on the line. Recognize, are you there?
Salam alaikum.
Salam. Alaikum salam. Right back at you. Listen, guys, before we get down to the fun, we are going to have a lot of fun today. We're going to try to keep this one short. I don't think any of us want to really go all night here, but we're going to be talking about, at first, the three amigos, four if you count Ryan Garcia. And actually, Ryan Garcia is in there, right? I believe, in the picture. Anyway, we're going to talk about all those prospects. Lomachenko. Who stands the better shot at beating Lomachenko? But before we get there, you guys know the drill. Go on down to BDA Boxing, subscribe if you haven't done so already. Like, if you have a couple of shekels, you can send our way with the super chat or the Patreon page or the PayPal page, BDA PayPal page. You can certainly do so. All the links are in the description. Don't forget to check out BDA Live, our secondary channel where we hold film analysis. We already have a two-parter on Demetrius Andrade, and there is a third ancillary video that we're about to drop on BDA, the main channel. So guys, check that channel out. Before we continue, also can't forget to give a shout out to everybody who supports us. Santos Romo, Official Scorecard Boxing, SSB 28. Many more to come, I'm sure, on this late night. Don't forget, guys, like and subscribe. Support the channel. That's the most important thing. Spread the BDA gospel far and wide. There are still a lot of unclean heathens out there who have yet to hear the gospel of the BDA organization. So we want you to get that down there as quickly as possible. Anyway, guys, thank you for joining us. We're going to talk about then, like I said, Ryan Garcia, what's the other guy? Devin Haney, Tank Davis, and Teofimo Lopez. This quartet certainly seems to be doing a lot of jawing. Like my ex-wife, a lot of jawing. They never stop with this internet thing. Guys, how do we start this? I mean,
Well, can we start by just mentioning, because, on the last show, we talked about Lomachenko.
Mhm.
There was a lot of people, so it was kind of hard to, keep a conversation going with some of the callers.
Yeah, it's a difficult thing, huh?
Yeah. We were trying to jump in. But, I think we forgot to mention, first of all, that, we mentioned it, but the thing is, it's hard to stick to a point, again, because there's so many people trying to get a word in. Lomachenko's size, that's very important. And I posted that picture of Lomachenko next to Luke Campbell.
Mhm.
You can see that the height difference. Also, that picture where you see Lomachenko next to Mikey Garcia. Mikey Garcia, despite having fought at featherweight, he still looked much bigger than Lomachenko. So Lomachenko, you can't deny it, he's a very small guy.
Mhm.
Right? He shouldn't even be fighting 130, and he's at 135. That's a fact, man. You can't deny it all you want. I show you the pictures, so you can't deny that. So we're talking about Usyk. Usyk, of course, he's a great fighter, and a lot of us have him as our number one pound for pounder. So we're not disagreeing if you have him above Lomachenko, but to say that he's way above Lomachenko, that's insane. And sticking to the size topic over here, Usyk, he's 6'3", and he's fighting guys, his size at cruiserweight. So although what he accomplished at cruiserweight is unbelievable, what Lomachenko is doing, I think, is a little bit better just because of his that size difference. All right, and also mentioning amateurs against pros. Some people were saying, "Oh, Lomachenko, he had all these amateur fights, so I'm not surprised he got, that he became a champion so early." That's true. He's a two-time gold medalist. But amateur boxing, I mean, you're fighting 4 rounds, right?
Mm-hmm.
it's never gonna be enough to prepare you fully for the professional ranks. And then having fought Salido, who is not a bum, by the way. If you look at his losses and who he has fought, he's a very experienced fighter. So for Lomachenko to fight this guy 12 rounds, and some people had Lomachenko winning, right? And Salido was dirty as fuck. So to say that, oh well, he lost to a bum and he's not that great. Take into account that this guy, it was his second professional fight. He was fighting a veteran, and amateur boxing is not professional boxing. All right, that's just a fact. It's not gonna prepare you fully for a 12-round professional fight. That's all I have.
Yeah, man. I mean, a lot of people bring that argument up. Well, they say, well, he hasn't beaten anybody, this and that, and then they go, oh, and he lost to Salido. He lost to Salido. What was it now? 6 years ago. Look at the number of people he's beaten since then. You can count the number of rounds he's lost on the fingers you have in your hands. I mean, he's lost very few rounds against top opposition. Now, if you want to play that game of, well, who has he fought? You can do that with anybody. The gentleman that called in, I think you're talking about that guy. And I've heard those arguments before where they go, well, Lomachenko never fought anybody. Okay, and he said Usyk was the number one, I believe. You can do the same thing with Usyk. Who did he beat?
Exactly.
Gassiev. Let's play that game. Gassiev.
Well, how many people know Gassiev?
Well, it doesn't really matter. But the point is this. Right, guys. We're going to play the game. Who has Gassiev beaten? Or what has he done since Usyk beat him? He has done nothing. He was slow as molasses, and he was one-dimensional. Then you got Myris Bradis, who beat an old man. Hasn't done anything since then. He's a cheater, too. He has to cheat to win. Marco old. You know what I mean? It's like you can. Yeah. What's the other guy's name? That's Michael Hunter now. Okay, he's doing good at heavyweight, but he hadn't done anything back then. Too green. See, you can do that with anybody, and it seems to me when you encounter a person who does that, you go, okay, does this guy just doesn't know what he's talking about, or is there an agenda behind everything he's saying?
Yeah, and look at Lomachenko, how he disposes of his opponents.
Yeah.
Right? You want to talk about Postol, a big win? It is one of Crawford's biggest wins. But that fight sucked, man. It sucked. People were booing. It was supposed to be a pay-per-view fight, and it sucked. All right, so it wasn't a great performance by Crawford by any means. So you have to take that into account. Go ahead.
I got to run in a few minutes. Let me tell you why Lomachenko is just as good as a professional, if not better, which is hard to top than an amateur. Because in an amateur fight, you only get 3, 4, 6 rounds maybe to fight. Usually 3 or 4 rounds, right? In the professionals, he gets 12 rounds, 10 to 12 rounds. He's the champion. Lomachenko does well when he overloads fighters' computers and takes them into deep waters. When you have more rounds, he's able to do that, as he just proved when he took out 4 guys in a row. So if you give Lomachenko rounds, he's going to drown his opponents. They're going to get frustrated. They're going to quit, or they're going to run out of ideas. So give Lomachenko more rounds, i.e. as a professional, and he will succeed. Many fighters won't, but he will because of that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing, man. That's the other argument is you got a lot of these, some people say, well, he lost to Salido, but he should have done better because he had 200 plus amateur fights. There's a lot of, first of all, you can take a 34-year-old guy right now from Cuba or from the Eastern Europe who's got a gold medal or a silver medal. You can't throw him in there in the professional ranks for a 12-rounder on his second professional fight. It just doesn't happen. Teofimo Lomachenko seemed to have prepared for that as best he could. And like you said, Bucho, he lost the Salido. People always say, oh, he lost to a bum. Salido's no bum.
Salido had like 50 fights going into that fight.
Exactly.
Like,
and he's no bum.
Like, he's not a bum. He was a champion. He beat the shit out of a common opponent with Floyd Mayweather. I mean, come on.
Yeah, he went to Puerto Rico and fought what's his name? Manuel Lopez. He fought him twice. He beat him in Puerto Rico. This guy has experience. He went 12 rounds in Marquez. Come on, man.
And he was probably roided too, because I remember he failed the test when he beat Robert Guerrero back in 2009, I believe, 2010, or one of those years. And he tested positive for something. So this guy down there in Mexico, he's robbing liquor stores. He's training like a madman. Who knows what he's injecting into his ass? I mean, it wasn't on the level. So the fact that Lomachenko barely lost to the guy, I don't understand why people. But anyway, I don't understand. Look, I want to talk boxing. I don't know why these people then come in here and they, with an agenda instead of saying let's look at the record, let's look at the video evidence, which there's plenty of film analysis out there, including in our channel about Lomachenko. No. Let's not look at all that. Let's say that his opponents suck and he's overhyped. Okay.
And he lost to Salido 6 years ago or some shit.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, and boxing is about content. Like what happened? How did he lose the fight? Did he get blown out?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
they say he was whooped by Salido. I mean, you've heard that recognized.
I mean,
he got whooped.
Here's the thing: when you and a certain amount of people are the only people that think that, then don't you think that it's you that's like trying? Like, of course, like they'll never admit it, right? But the Lomachenko haters that want to over exaggerate, they know he didn't get whipped. They know that, right? But they keep saying it, so like, I guess we can question ourselves and be like, oh yeah, maybe they really do believe that. It's like, no, he didn't get whipped. He barely lost the fight. He almost stopped him in the last round. Or at least dropped him. He almost dropped his ass.
But who? Yeah, and who gets judged by those standards? Look, I'm gonna bring the amateur thing one more time. 400 plus fights, lost one time, avenged it. Then only lost one time as a professional. In what sport, when a guy loses one time, and then avenges the other losses throughout many years, if you combine the two, and it's not like it's swimming and running, it's sprinting and running. It's amateur boxing and professional boxing. You're not going from one thing to a totally different thing. They're two of the same. Okay? So in what sport does somebody get judged that harsh? You
That's
only
a good
lose one
point.
fucking time.
In the post Mayweather era.
Yeah. Now with the internet, people go nuts for this type of thing. But it's interesting also because you bring up the amateur and the professionals ranks there, Gonzalo, and you mentioned also the fact that it takes a large amount of time to adapt. Because think about it this way: in the amateurs, it's high paced. It's like you said, it's like a sprint. 3 rounds, 3 minutes, boom, 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 go. The professional ranks, if you're fighting a 10-round, 12-rounder there's feel-out rounds, right? The first 2 or 3 rounds, they're usually feel-out rounds. A lot can happen in those rounds. One guy can give away the other one slightly, but he's setting traps. There's no such thing in the amateurs, so it's a different dynamic. It's easy to win the first 3 rounds. I mean, look at Zab Judah versus Mayweather. He legit won those 3 rounds. He was schooling Mayweather. I mean, he was out counter-punching him in that fight. But then Mayweather started setting traps, started going to the body, started walking him down. And if it hadn't been for that low blow, I think Mayweather would have taken him out. So,
Yeah, I've always said that. But Mayweather was about to stop him. Zab Judah had a little bit of animosity towards Floyd at that point of their lives. And he said, fuck that. You've been kind of cheating too in this fight. I'm going to hit you with a low blow because I'm not going to let you knock me out.
Exactly. And yeah, it was a street move. And apparently Roger Mayweather said he saw it coming. But my point was that it's easy to win the first, well, not easy, but you can win the first 3 rounds in a professional fight. And we've seen that with Mayweather. Sometimes he would lose the first 2 or 3 rounds, and then boom, by the 7th, he was completely outboxing the guy, hadn't figured out. It takes focus. You guys who have boxed, you know that it takes focus, mental strength to maintain consistency throughout the rounds. Not everybody can do it. If you step out there from the amateur ranks, doesn't matter whether you're big shit, hotshot with 2 gold medals, you have to adapt. And the fact that Lomachenko jumped into the deep waters in only his second professional fight, I think that's what pisses off some people, is like that there's not other fighters that they like that are doing that, and it gets him a little bit
uncomfortable. That was impressive too, right? Like that was his second professional fight. First time ever going 12 rounds, and he still had energy. This is a guy who trained for this, man. Even though he never did it in a live atmosphere where he's fighting a guy who's trying to beat the shit out of him too. Right, he goes in there and he goes to 12 rounds, and then in the last round, and the referee did a terrible job. What was it, Lawrence Cole, whatever his name is? He did a terrible job because right when fucking Lomachenko was like raining on him, he breaks up the action. It's like, why are you doing that for? You know what I'm saying? Like, he broke up the action. He had the boy hurt, despite being in a grueling fight where he's getting hit very low. So.
I just had rescored that fight recently on one of my streams. There was a lot of times in there where that cocksucker Lawrence Cole, he was warning Lomachenko for no reason. There was a few times in there And I still scored it for Lomachenko. I had it 7-4 and 1 even. Oh yeah. And you see all these dudes in these comments. Oh yeah, Orlando Cito destroyed with the cap marks on. Destroyed, murdered Loma. Get the fuck out of my face with that.
destroyed. These people are insane.
Yeah,
Are
like
they
okay,
fucking-
listen. If you're trolling, fine. I guess that's
But they're
cute.
dead serious.
But if you're serious, like you come on, who are you trying to convince?
They don't know shit.
You're not talking to some stupid idiot. Like, dude, we saw the fight. Nobody agrees with that. Nobody would ever say Orlando Salido destroyed Lomachenko. Okay?
Hey,
It
you know
happens
what?
in the LDBC. In an LDBC channel, somebody says that he got wood by Salido, and then you see in the chat, that's right. Like that's the shit you get over there.
People need to start watching the fights themselves instead of just looking at the records and box records. By the
Dude,
way,
you don't know what an ass whipping is.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it makes sense because Wilder got whipped in front of you, and you still don't.
He was cheated. No, he
and
was cheated.
by the way, we already got a couple of phone calls here. By the way, Johnny Boy, happy belated birthday, man. I think it was yesterday.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it was yesterday. I already told Recognize some broad drugged me when I was out the other night.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
No. So, dude, because the only thing I remember, I don't even remember passing out, bro. This Mexican chick that I was talking to drugged me. She pulled a fucking Cardi B on me, bro. And I don't remember nothing. I remember my homeboys slapping me up in the face, like, yo, wake up, we gotta go. And I guess they overheard him saying it. And my homeboys fucked these dudes up, bro. They broke their nose and their teeth and everything. My homeboys weren't having it, bro. They weren't having it, dog.
So wait, geez, Luis. So yeah, you almost got Charlotte in there.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I guess they slipped some. I was having a Jack and Coke or something, but we was at somebody's crib. There was a bunch of people,
You got some balls, kid. I'll give you that much.
All right, listen.
Yeah, man.
It's quite a story, man.
You give me what I tell you to give me.
Yeah.
This ain't the 70s anymore. All right, listen. We got it real quick. We got some phone calls already. Late night episode. We're setting the stage here, Lomachenko, but we're setting the stage for who has the better shot at beating him: Garcia, Tank Davis, Lopez, or Devin Haney. So let's go to a phone call real quick. Let's go to 719. You're on the air. 719.
Hey, I don't think any of them really have the style that's really Lomachenko's kryptonite. Like I'd rather see him versus the style he lost against. So I actually know that he's improved since Salido destroyed him.
Mm-hmm.
Now
Hey, by the way, I wanted to ask you.
Are you joking?
Huh?
Yeah, I think he's joking. Caller, but I wanted to ask you though, because the question is right now, which one of those four has the best shot? So even though you don't think either one of them beats him, like which one do you?
I'll put it this way. I'll say Teofimo Lopez because I feel like he's the most explosive.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the worst moment of Lomachenko's career was when he lost to Salido, but the second worst I'd say was when he got dropped by Linares. He was wide open. It was some amateur type of shit he was doing. He had his head right on the line, wide open for that counter right hand, right? That's how he got dropped. Now, I think Teofimo Lopez can duplicate that, but do more damage at the same time. You know what I'm saying? What did Teofimo Lopez knock out Comey with?
Big right hand.
A counter right hand, right?
Yep.
Early. Now if he can duplicate that, I could see Lomachenko getting his lights knocked out, but it ain't gonna be easy. I ain't gonna say that because he is a skilled motherfucker, but he ain't the smallest at 135, but he ain't exactly big either. I just feel like he's a normal sized guy at that weight. But Teofimo is a huge lightweight. It's a lot of big lightweights that make.
Lomachenko reminds me of the lightweights of like in the 80s. That's what they used to look like. Now they look like fucking, close to welterweights.
Welterweights, yeah.
Yeah.
You know what it's like?
Them dudes is oversized. They make other guys that are really meant for that weight class look like they're not meant to be there. That's what That's kind of how I look at it.
I agree. I totally
You know what
agree
it's
with
like,
that.
man? It's like when you have a kid, and by the time he's 15, he's taller than you, and he's picking you up by the hair and slapping you
Yeah,
when you don't
that
give
happened
you
with me.
when you don't give him
That
the
happened
keys
with
to
me,
the car.
right?
Hey, but caller, you made a
My fucking son at 15 or like 16, the motherfucker was already 6'3". I was like, what the fuck?
he beats you up, yeah.
Yeah,
But
what the fuck are they feeding these kids, man? Those GMOs, man.
yeah, man, it's I don't know what I mean. I tell you, I think they're feeding them some of that meat that Canelo used to eat back in Mexico.
Yeah, something like that, man.
But caller,
Oh,
I wanted
shit.
to ask you.
Okay,
You
man.
brought up
Yeah.
you brought up the Salido fight. Now that Salido fight, it's true. He's fought better opponents than Salido, but he's never fought the same style. Now there's nobody at 135 who can present that style, but there is somebody at 130 who presents a similar dynamic, and that is Miguel Berchelt, El Escorpión. What do you think about
Exactly.
Berchelt?
That's why I want to see that fight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that would be his biggest test. I need to see him. I think that style is his kryptonite. So I need to see him against that style again, or even Andrew Cancio. I know he's not the best, but he kind of got that same pressure fighter style. He throw a lot of punches and kind of do the same things. So if I see him against maybe one of those two fighters, then maybe it'll change my mind about him being a hype job. But
Let me tell
I'll be
the
okay
caller
if he
this.
cleaned out those young guys at 135 too. So it's two ways he can impress me.
Mm-hmm. All right, Johnny boy, you want to ask him something?
No, I was just gonna say, well, that's why. I mean, this is obviously before the pandemic and all that, but that's why they never set Berchelt and Valdez, because if the Teofimo fight didn't fall through, that was going to be the backup plan for him to fight Berchelt. It's probably that fight will probably end up happening. It's easy to make.
I hope so. I hope so. Now, caller,
So are they trying to bring Berchelt up to 135?
Maybe, man, but he's a big.
I think Loma said he wants to go down and fight him. I mean, he hasn't filled out. He hasn't. Yeah, if you BDA, if you look at his fight night weigh-in, it's almost the same as when he was at 130. It's basically the same shit.
Let me check that out.
So if you really look at him, that's why it doesn't look like he's really gained any size. Lomachenko is very muscled up. Like for a little dude, you can tell he's like very chiseled. So sometimes it's kind of hard to tell. But to me, he doesn't look any different from 130 to 135. Now he does look different compared to 126. That I will say. But the 130, 135, I'm gonna say that same day weigh-in is just about the same.
He's been weighing in at 134 in his last two fights against Krolla and Campbell.
In the fight night?
Oh, fight night? No, sorry. Fight night, I don't know what he was at. But hold on.
I think he was 140, 141.
Okay, before we continue, because we got to move on. Caller, I want to ask you, if Lomachenko and Berchelt were to fight next week, let's say, and you had to pick somebody, who would you pick and how, by which method of victory would you pick them by?
I would say maybe I'll lean towards Lomachenko by decision.
All right, so even though you have your little doubts about Lomachenko, you still recognize, no pun intended, that he's got talent. He's got enough talent that you would give him the slight favorite.
Oh yeah. Come on now. I'm not a hater like people think I am. I ain't stupid. The motherfuckers got skills, but
fair enough.
It's just,
I like
man,
that answer.
Salido, man. Goddamn, Salido. I can't get over it.
Hey man, Salido beat the dog shit out of Guerrero. Go watch that fight. He beat the dog shit. I know they reversed it because, he tested positive for something.
Right.
But when he fought Guerrero, he beat the mess out of him.
Mr. BDA, can I interject very quickly?
Salido lost in those asterisks of his top 5 wins. That's what left a bad taste in my mouth about him. I need to see somebody, like that, Berchelt. You take him out, you impress me.
All right. Thank you, caller, for calling in, man. We're gonna have to move on, but thank you for your call. Thank you for your input, and call back next time. All right. Or actually, you know what? If you want to, depending on which subject we're on, and you want to say something, call back in if we're still here. All right.
All right, then. Appreciate
All right.
it.
Take it easy, man. Have a good night. All right. All right. So we got corruption in boxing. Corruption. What, you want to say something?
Yes, I wanted to address the caller directly
Whoops.
about Miguel Berchelt. He was now, if you go back a few years, Miguel Berchelt, when he was the interim for the WBO, he actually accepted steppers from top rank so that Vasily could fight Rocky Martinez. Now, if you're a confident individual, then you're not really going to accept step-aside money.
Mm-hmm.
Now, his injury, it may have been legitimate or not, because he did come off a superb knockout. So I think he may have bruised up his hands when he was 100% with Zanfer. But when Vasily then moved in and fought Rocky Martinez and destroyed him for the championship, Berchelt was still the mandatory for the WBO. But the reason why the sanctioning body didn't make the fight is because Mikael Berchelt didn't want to fight Loma. If Zampa had indicated to the WBO that he's recovered now and now we want to exercise our mandatory, they would have ordered the fight. And if a deal wouldn't have been struck, then it would have gone to purse bids. But Miguel Berchelt, who's been holding the belt hostage, the WBC, he decided to go another way because he wanted to fight Francisco Vargas, because he was the substitute for the Olympics, so them two go way back. But Lomachenko and Vargas were due to fight. They'd already indicated that they wanted to fight each other in a unification. But Vargas ended up fighting Berchelt as a voluntary defense. I think he underestimated him, obviously, much to its demise. So Berchelt, ever since he's won that WBC belt, he's kept it hostage. And we can only judge a fighter not only on the past, but in the future. We can say that maybe he was a little bit unseasoned, unproven. But now that he's remained a champion for a significant period, he recently came in the ring with a Jamel Herring, and it was thought that that unification was going to happen, but now he's declined that opportunity as well because he really wanted to fight Masanito Ito in the unification. He didn't really want to fight Herring, so Herring has been saying, "Well, you came into the ring, you made all these auspicious, gestures, and now you don't want to fulfill what you've been talking about." So if we're going to cast aspersions on Miguel Berchelt, then he really is a paper champion.
By the way, I think Lomachenko will wash Berchelt. I look at his style; he's too slow for him.
Yeah, maybe,
He'll
man,
catch
maybe.
him with some shots. Maybe he'll catch him with some shots.
But it's still an interesting little fight.
Oh yeah, I would like to see.
But
it.
in case Lomachenko whoops Teofimo Lopez, and then you go, well, who else is left? Well, move Berchelt up because he's been looking good, man. Against Sosa, he beat the crap out of Sosa, man. I want to see that. So that's why that's why corruption in boxing says that he's a champion. He hasn't fulfilled his duties, and it's true. Hey, listen, I don't know what goes on the mind of a boxer, but I can tell you by looking at the way he fights, they give him good money against Lomachenko. I think he steps in there with him. That's something that I'd like to see.
He beat the shit out of Francisco Vargas in that rematch too, right before he fought that.
Yeah, but that was unnecessary. That fucking rematch.
Well, I know, but I mean, he had a good battle with the guy in the first one, and then he just won. I mean, it's still something.
Yeah, and he did beat Miura too, it wasn't the most scintillating performance, but it was a nice performance. By the way, guys, before we continue, let's go to 857. 857, you're on the air.
Hey, what's up, BDA?
Good, man. How about you? How about yourself?
Hey,
What's that?
T-Tone.
Oh, Tito Toledo. What's up, man?
Hey, I got a question for Johnny Boy.
Go ahead.
No, I'm just kidding. It's Jimmy Mack. What's up?
I really thought he was, man. He got me fucked.
Hey, Tito. Johnny, what's up? Johnny, why'd you block me? Why'd you block me, Johnny?
Oh, man, that was good.
Jimmy, I was just about to let it rip too, dog. As soon as where I said that.
Yeah, by the way, Jimmy, what's T-Tone is in the chat room. He's saying, "What the fuck?" he actually thought he might have been on the phone line at the same time. It's like, wait a minute, am I that drunk? All right, go ahead, Jimmy. What do you want to say, man?
I just wanted to say, one of the dudes, not this last caller, but the caller before, he tried to say that Lomachenko wasn't a small lightweight, man. And it's pretty clear that the dude walked around about 143, 144 pounds. And these other guys are 150 plus. He's a really small lightweight compared to these guys.
Well, he's a short guy. You know?
Yeah, he's not even 5'7". They list him at 5'7" on BoxRec. Like, get out.
No, and not only that, his head, it's like a little, it's pin. It's small.
Yeah, that's a
peanut
good
head.
Pinhead. Yeah, peanut head.
That's a good.
Yeah.
That's a good way to size up somebody. You usually look at their shoulders, the width of it, and their cranium, and you start realizing, yeah, like this dude. I agree with what you just said, Bucho. He would have been like a fucking natural lightweight, you know, maybe 40 years ago, but not anymore.
Yeah, I mean, bro, if you look at the pictures, not even just Luke Campbell. I mean, obviously Luke Campbell was fucking huge compared to standing next to him. But even if you look at the rest of them guys, Pedraza, Leonardes, and who else did he fight? Corolla, they're all bigger than him, bro.
When he fought Corolla, Johnny boy, he looked at least 2 inches shorter, not fucking 1 inch shorter than Corolla. Like Corolla was definitely the taller and bigger guy, and Luke Campbell. So if you go by BoxRec, fucking Luke Campbell's 5'9" and Lomachenko's 5'7". Now look, when you're 2 inches shorter than a guy, you don't look way shorter than him. You don't look that short. You know, you're somewhere around the top of your forehead meets like the middle of his forehead, or maybe above the eyebrow. Okay. But not fucking down to the guy's nose. That's about 3 to 4 inches shorter than a guy.
And honestly, bro, Corolla was the smallest one of the bunch he's fought since he was at lightweight, bro.
All right, you guys.
Maybe it's between him and Pedraza. Like,
yeah.
You guys need to stop calling him Corolla. It's Corolla. He's not Adam Corolla. What's the matter with you guys?
You never heard of singing Sam Corolla before?
Adam Corona. Shut up. By the way, Jimmy.
Let Jimmy speak.
Yeah, that's what I want to say.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jimmy.
Oh, now you got nothing to say.
Huh? But yeah, man. I don't know. I think the fight was the biggest learning experience that a guy can have. You know, you had a guy coming in overweight, you know, dirty the whole fight, still almost stopped him, man. You know, I think that's the best learning experience a guy can have, and I don't think he's going to lose to that same style again, especially from a guy like Berchelt. Berchelt is really good. I'm really high on Berchelt. I just think that he's a little slow, and he takes a lot of punches. But even in Jason Gross's fight, he was getting caught. And he looked like he got hurt.
All right, Jimmy, you're fading away, man. You're fading away. Stay close to your telephone, please.
He's blowing in the wind.
Oh, yeah, probably a bad service. All right, well, I'm just going to jump off then. I'm going to jump in the chat. So.
All right, Jimmy, thank you for calling in, man. Take it easy there.
You too. Bye.
All right.
BDA, I stood 3 meters away from Vasily back in 2012 after his bout when he was in the tracksuit and trainers. I was desperate to try and, you know, speak. I couldn't. And, you know, I can say that he is 5'6", no more, no less than that.
I believe that too. I believe that's the 5'7". I think they're just giving him a little. I don't know. Giving him
I always thought he was 5'6". Yeah.
Yeah, he looks. He's Manny Pacquiao's height.
His shoulders. The difference though, Pacquiao's shoulders are somewhat wide and everything. He's more thick boned. He seems a little bit. Yeah.
Hey guys, when you see a guy like Lomachenko in person, who you know is one of the best boxers in the world and might just become one of the top 100 boxers of all time, I mean, you know he's that badass in the ring, but you're taller than him. Don't you guys ever feel like just taking your hand, putting it over his face, and just shoving him back or something like that?
No, but I know what you mean. It's like, you're like, wait a second, this guy's a midget compared to me. But if he fucking hits your stomach, right?
Oh,
and he's capable of doing it. 10 shots before you can get yours off. you're in trouble. You know.
I mean, he's already in the top 100 of all time, unless you want to include all.
Now look, the period is not there yet, right? So there's still room for improvement. But take the short amount of fights, 3 different weight classes, about to be, a unified champion in one of those divisions, about to try to become undisputed. I think there's a good case for him being there already. Making 4 guys quit. We're talking about one guy was a 2-time Olympic gold medalist, a champion who was unbeaten. I don't care if he was coming up in weight. Doesn't matter. He still made him quit. He made him say no mas. Yeah, I think, Johnny, you're right. I think he's start ranking him now.
And one thing else, I'm going to mention it again. I'm going to reiterate a point. Look, how many fights did Pernell Whitaker have? Recognized guys. How many fights did Sugar Ray Leonard fight? They had about 30, 32 fights, and they had about 6 losses. So you take away, he's got 15 fights. He has no tune-ups. He has no step-ups to build his career, and he has only 1 loss. So take out of the equation, and you have Pernell Whitaker and Sugar Ray Leonard, who are considered all-time greats.
I've always knew what the goal was when he started doing it, right? When I became aware of who Lomachenko was, it's this 20-fight factor that he's looking at and how many belts he can win and how many he could do it in different weight classes. That's the goal there. That's why I say, man, get ready for a guy who's going to give you good fights. He's going to give the other, if you're a hater, he's going to give you the chance because he is not interested in padding his record. It should be obvious. He's not interested in that.
And the thing is, like with the thing with Vasily is he would be the very first person to decree that he isn't an all-time great thus far because his resume doesn't warrant that. He would be the first to acknowledge that. It's only unfortunate that he's boxing in an era where his peers are nowhere near as good as him in terms of a skill factor. I mean, if you look at the lightweights in the 90s, you had Acelino, Freitas, Floyd Mayweather, Castillo, Corrales, Julio Diaz, Juan Diaz. You had a star-studded lightweight division. It was just Lascano, Stevie Johnson. It was just packed out, champion after champion. A very, very good division. But unfortunately, the division at the moment is not as good. And, the caller was criticizing Vasily before. Now, when he fought Guillermo Rigondeaux, he didn't want to engage in that fight. And Bob Arum, he didn't want to promote that fight, specifically because he used to promote Rigondeaux. And Rigondeaux, unfortunately, did not shine. And therefore, Top Rank had to extricate themselves from him whilst he was, the champion of the year from the Nonito Donaire win. But it was only Guillermo Rigondeaux's jealousy and persistently requesting that fight that Vasily thought, look, if you're going to keep calling me out, then I'm going to have to oblige and I'm going to have to, beat your ass, in which he obviously did and embarrassed and humiliated the guy who's obviously not used to defeat in a very, very long career. In fact, that he had to manufacture a reason just to extricate himself from the bout because he was being dominated. And you can't say that size was a factor because the fight was not on the inside where numerical advantages are actually more acute. It was essentially a boxing match, and 2 of them are master boxers, but Vasily clearly exemplified that he's far better than Guillermo Rigondeaux and embarrassed him in that sense. So Rigondeaux obviously did not want to be knocked out. That sort of embarrassment, and you can understand it from guys who've got 300-400 wins. They can't accept defeat, so they're going to make any old excuses if simply they cannot impose their will. And he got out of the fight. So, and Vasily in the post-fight said that, look, he didn't take any credit from the fight because he essentially did not want to fight Rigondeaux because he knew he was too bigger, significantly bigger, and it was a Rigondeaux who wanted the fight specifically at 130 pounds.
Yep.
Now, the caller was saying he's so small, but if you check your resume, he actually fought at 126 pounds before he fought Vasily at 130 pounds. So he's not a minute sort of.
Exactly.
I guess. Sorry, I lost my voice. I guess he kind of trusted in his power because Rigandao, he's a boxer, but he's also a good puncher. Many
He's a
people don't
puncher,
realize that.
essentially a
Yeah.
puncher. Yeah, yeah.
Look,
He's,
look. There's a lot of promising superstars right now, but that's just words. There are no actual accolades. Look how quick they are to bestow these new when they talk about their fighters, these new prospects, contenders. But you can't recognize a guy that's got the titles already. These guys are getting uh they're getting mentioned as possible great fighters when they haven't fought nobody.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know what? The
None of
big.
these,
Oh, sorry. I think
none of
recognize.
these,
What?
oh, I'm sorry, BDA. Can I say something real fast?
Yes, and then I think recognize want to say something afterwards.
I didn't. I'm sorry, recognize. I didn't even hear you, bro. But
I think.
go ahead, bro.
No, I was just gonna say, man, they can have all the potential to be great in the world, bro. If you don't do nothing, it doesn't mean nothing, man. Listen, man, that's why I get so sick of motherfuckers talking about Joe Joyce and Ryan Garcia and the Jabba and fucking Devin. None of these boys are fighting nobody. None of them.
Absolutely, Johnny. But they're the truth. They're the truth, and the Lomachenko is not. Yeah,
exactly. It's like
hold on. Let me finish my point real quick. My point was this, bro. You can have all that potential you want. You can have fucking 50 million social media followers. None of that means nothing, bro. What matters is what goes on inside the ring, bro. That's what matters.
Now,
Yeah.
go ahead, recognize. Yeah.
No, I was going to say something to Corruption's point about the 4 stoppages in a row.
Mm-hmm.
If you really look at it, you dissect it. It's really telling about Lomachenko and what he brings. It's a combination of speed and power. And I know people say, not nobody in this panel. I'm talking about outside people that are haters. Well, he doesn't have real power. No, listen, he does. He has underrated power. This is what I mean by that. If you look at the guys he stopped, the 4 guys in a row. So it was Nicholas Walters, Mariaga, right? Jason Sosa, and then Rigondeaux. He made them all quit in their corner. They're all different type of fighters. So when it comes to Nicholas Walters and Guillermo Rigondeaux, these are 2 guys who never lost a fight at this point going into the ring with Lomachenko. So that tells me that their IQ is a little better in the ring than Mariaga and Sosa. So they quit before it got really bad. Okay, that means they felt something and they said, "Fuck it, I'm done." And this guy's way much of a better boxer than I am. Then you go to Mariaga and Jason Sosa. These are guys that they don't have nothing to lose, and he made those guys quit too.
Mm-hmm.
So his power is for real.
Yeah.
Well, if I may add something to that, Rigondeaux, I mean, people forget that, man. He fought Donaire, who had been on a tear since 2007, and Donaire barely landed a glove on the guy. He had the shining moment where he dropped him, maybe a left hook here or there before that, and before that, Rigondeaux just completely outboxed him. So Lomachenko, I think, Corruption spoke about how Lomachenko had stated he didn't want the fight, but the guy called him out, so he took it. He did not, like Bucho said the last episode, he did not power him, he didn't bully him, he didn't do a Tyson Fury versus Wilder. He just stayed in front of him, said, "Try to hit me, motherfucker." And he was just bitch slapping him, and he made a 2-time world gold medalist quit without really beating him up. I mean, think about that.
Yep.
But you know what, guys? What I wanted to talk about really more than anything, and by the way, that also wanted to address before I say that, Johnny Boy, the language, it's a family show, man. I don't know what.
You blow your father with that mouth?
I mean, come on, man. You gotta watch it, man. I wanted to, the title of this, because we're talking here, out of the 4 guys, I think Gonzalo made a very good point and recognized too about how these guys love to talk, they demand money, these young guys, but they don't fight anybody. Now, I'm optimistic. I think these guys are going to make some big things happen. Which guy do you look at from Garcia, Teofimo Lopez, Tank Davis, and Haney? Which one of those 4 do you guys think has the best shot at making something great happen? A great career.
In the long run?
Yes. Overall, yes.
Out of all 3 of those guys, there's 2 guys that stand out in terms of the long haul. That's Haney and, believe it or not, man, Garcia. I do believe there's some upside with Garcia.
And what do you think that is? Do you think it's the dedication, the Q rating?
Well, one thing that we never take into consideration, he's real young, and he looks like he's growing into that man's body. So we don't know how strong he's going to be. And
Exactly.
let's assume that he could keep making 135, 140. Dude, if he keeps getting stronger at 135, 140, he can make a lot of noise. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be the best. He'll go unbeaten. No, that's not what I mean. Only time will prove that if he could do that. But he will make noise. He will beat guys that are in his range group, guys that will be fighting coming up like him. He'd be able to beat those guys. And Devin Haney, obviously, because look, he's a bit of a clown and everything with his comments, but I think he's serious about boxing. And he has shown that he can be sharp at times. What is missing from him, obviously, experience. You need experience. That's what's going to make you better. It's going to continue. And I think if those guys out of the Tank and who else did you mention?
Teofimo Lopez.
Teofimo's raw talent. I think what's going to end up happening to Teo is that his ego is going to get in the way. He's going to get into a big fight where he gets hurt bad. And not hurt like real bad, but he'll take a loss. And I don't think he's going to respond well to that. I think the guys that could, because they're tamed to a certain level, is Haney and Garcia.
Haney and Garcia. Okay, there you have it. Yeah. And you've said that before in the past that you think Teofimo Lopez might be a little bit on the mentally weak side.
Well, look, this is what I will say. If you ask me right now, out of all those guys who could win, is who could be who? I say Teofimo, but I don't think he's built to last. That mentality, it's like a street mentality. Like you start looking at dudes and who you think is going to get killed or go to jail. He reminds me of that guy. Like he might be the baddest guy on the playground, but the guy that's going to be the smartest and know how to get himself out of trouble, it's not him.
Right.
He's the guy that goes to jail, or one day pumps his chest out and says, "What's up?" And then some dude pulls out a gun and shoots him 5 times.
Oh, and I hope people understand.
That's Teofimo.
I hope people understand what your point, because
I'm putting that into boxing terms.
I know, but what I'm saying is because there's a guy in the chat, J Star James, says, "How can you can't even say Lopez is weak at all?"
No, it's not. He's not weak. His mindset might be the one that gets him in trouble. I don't think he senses danger. He doesn't know how to. It doesn't. That could work for you early, but eventually you got to have a good sense of danger. Look what happened to Wilder.
Okay. Yeah, because my question, just to clarify for the people in the chat room, the question was, which out of these 4 guys, which one has the higher ceiling to do something? And we recognize he's saying that he doesn't think Teofimo Lopez, despite having the better resume than all those guys at this point, he might not make it because of his lack of either mental strength or inherent strength, whatever. It's just that he doesn't have the mentality to do it. He says, I want to bring it back to, I mentioned this a couple of episodes ago, Zab Judah, when you looked at him coming up in the 90s, Max Kellerman, who was considered an annoying prick back in those days at ESPN, he was one of the guys that was extremely high on Zab Judah. He called him Pernell Whitaker with power. And looking at him, you thought, okay, he looks impressive, fast hands, power, good amateur record. He's probably going to be an all-time great. He isn't an all-time great. He's a good boxer. He had a good career, gave it his all when he fought some of the best guys in there most of the time. But he didn't make it. So
New York Warriors don't have it, man. New York Warriors don't have it for long. They don't have that longevity plan. New York Warriors have the right here, right now mentality that usually gets them in trouble.
He's one of the biggest disappointments as far as like having the real talent, but didn't go as far as what was expected of him. To me, he's not necessarily a Panchito Bojado or a Jeff Lacy. He did accomplish some things, but his ceiling was much higher. Wasted talent, as there's a colloquial phrase that they use in the movies. Wasted talent. I think it's the word with Chaz Palminteri. I can't remember the name. In the Bronx Tale.
Yeah.
But anyways, out of those guys, Teofimo Lopez could be, certainly he's got the reflexes. similar to Roy Jones, where he can be successful when he's young. Much older, I don't think of him as having that much of a long career where, he's going to reign for a long time, supreme for a long time. Ryan Garcia has a lot of upside in the fact that what Recognize said, that's a missing component that's going to get it, that's going to add on to his skill set, his frame. He's going to get bigger, and he's already heavy-handed, and he's got fast hands. Now, one only thing we have to find out how good of a chin he has. That's kind of an X factor with him. But, he's 5'10" and a half, and he can certainly fill out to the bigger weights and succeed. And he's got Oscar De La Hoya as a promoter. So let me just finish this real quick. And that certainly helps him because there's a lot of parallels and the way they look and whatnot. And he could certainly help him with that. Got a lot of fan base with the women. Now, real quick, what's this guy, the short guy, Gervonta Davis? He don't have a lot of upside because he's a small guy. He's in a lot of danger in the 140-pound division because those guys are just much bigger. I'm just gonna wrap it up real quick because you just think about Dogbe when he faced Navarrete. He's gonna be in similar shoes when he faces Josh Taylor, and the other guy. They all got real good promoters. Eddie Hearn with this guy Devin Haney. Devin Haney, he knows boxing because he certainly has a big nose. He knows boxing, but he can do very well. He can do very well.
And boy got a nose on him.
Yeah, I think his skills will carry him, and he has a lot of upside too. We just got to figure out how good a chin he has as well. But I think real fast, I recognize that him and Ryan Garcia are the ones with the better upside.
How dare you make a joke like that about Haney? How dare you? I remember I made a joke about Haney's nose in one episode, and a guy called in.
Yeah, somebody called in.
He didn't appreciate it.
Yeah, they were upset with you.
Yeah. And by the way, you were there, recognized. I remember you were there. Oh, no, I think it was Revolucion. It was Revolucion, and I were taking calls. But real quick, guys, before we continue, we got a phone call here. Let's go to the phone lines. 510. You're on the air. 510.
Hey, you fat fuck. Put Johnny on the line.
Is this Tito?
The fuck?
Hey,
What you
Come on,
want,
Tito.
man?
bitch.
What do you want,
Stop
Tito?
blocking me, motherfucker.
What's that?
It's not Tito.
Tito.
No, that's not
Said,
Tito.
stop blocking me, bitch ass nigga. You ain't about shit, punk ass nigga.
Yeah, that's Tito. That's Tito. By the way, that type of
Tito.
language, man. That type of language, it's unacceptable on this show.
But Tito sounds Mexican. Like, hey, what up, Holmes? Like, I don't appreciate Johnny Boy.
He's faking
Little
his
stupid ass
voice.
nigga. Now this Bay Area, bruh. This Bay Area.
Wait, I mean, I thought you were Mexican, man.
Bay Area.
I thought you were Mexican, man.
Finally called in.
I'm just talking to this fat ass because he keeps blocking me because I talk about his boyfriend, Lomachenko.
I don't think this is Bay Area, by the way.
I don't think you're Bay Area. I think you're lying.
know?
Bay Area just got out of high school, bro.
Prove to us you're Bay Area.
Send us a photo of your cock.
Dude.
Do that.
No. Don't send me.
Yo, Bay Area.
Now I'm just calling in to tell that fat ass to stop blocking me.
You sad about it? Why don't you start your own channel, though, bro? I wasn't disrespecting your father.
You fat fuck. Man, shut the fuck up.
That's
bitch
great,
ass nigga.
bro.
You ain't about
Hey,
shit.
man.
Little goofy ass nigga.
Man.
Fake ass nigga. What you gonna do about it, bro? What's good?
Hey,
Where
bro,
you at,
your
nigga?
baby mom's flosses her teeth with my chest hair, bro. Okay?
All right, where is he
I can
going?
tell
Whatever,
this is
I'm
going to
out.
be a very productive call. Listen, Bay Area. I don't know if this is actually Bay. He dropped down.
He dropped down. So he just called in to say that shit.
Call back Bay Area
I
because
think
we
he
wanna-
wanted to talk about Salido because he keeps saying that Salido whooped Lomachenko's ass. So I thought we were gonna have a boxing conversation.
Hey, BDA, can I say what I was going to say about the 4 prospects real quick?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Okay, all right. Well, here's what it is. Tank Davis has no upside whatsoever. He's a fat fuck, and he's going to eat himself to death at Popeyes.
Oh, wait a minute.
2, Ryan Garcia.
You didn't have to go there, man.
He stands up stiffer than a preacher's dick. He's going to get knocked out by the first live body he fights.
Now, wait a minute.
3, Devin Haney. He's good, but he's got to stop ducking at Luke Campbell. This is what kills me about the Devin Haney thing. You know how they reinstated him as WBC lightweight champion of the world?
Right.
Here's the thing. They reinstate him as champion, and immediately, he has to satisfy his mandatory. Now, this is going to be the never-ending mandatory excuse that Anthony Joshua uses time and time. Oh, I had a mandatory to fulfill. Oh, Carlos Ocampo, mandatory. Oh, the never-ending mandatory excuse. And so he's ducking. Teofimo just knocked out a champion. He's about to fight the best fighter in the world. But like Recognize says, Teofimo's going to have a short run. It's going to be a good run, but it'll be a short run. Fight the best fighter in the world.
Who's got some feedback going there? Yeah, listen, first of all, with the Haney thing, I remember some of you guys were giving me a little bit of trouble because of Haney, because I said, let's not judge him too hard. No, actually, no, sorry. That was about Tank Davis. I was talking about Devin Haney. To me, he's still a prospect. I don't care if he's got a title. He's still a prospect. He's what, 21, 22? And people say, well,
Devin Haney's like 20, right? 20, yeah, 21.
Yeah, he's too young, man. He has no experience at the professional ranks to really get in
Ryan
there.
Garcia is what? Oh, so how old is he? 20,
he's gotta be 22,
21?
maybe?
Old enough to party.
Oh, come on. Now, wait a minute. I don't know what that means, but it says here he's 21. He's 21.
Okay, yeah.
Davis,
those dudes are...
Tank Davis, recognize, is an old man compared to them at 25.
Yeah, he's 25. And Teofimo's what, 22, 23?
Good question. Let me check. But yeah, the point remains.
22, G.
Yeah, I just don't trust dudes from New York. I don't trust them.
Oh, would you stop it, man? What's the matter with you?
No, I'm just go look at the track record, man. Go look at it.
No, listen, bro. Recognize is right though, bro. Because
no, he's not. No, he's not.
They're dangerous to themselves. They get themselves hurt.
And what about Daniel Jacobs? What about Daniel Jacobs?
Saying, bro, is like look at Camacho. He was great in the beginning. He had a great run, and then he totally fell off. Same thing with Mike Tyson. He had a great
well, that's everybody. No,
same thing with Riddick Bowe. Like, do you recognize this right, man?
You know what? I think you're right, man.
I'm not. If you look at the history of great fighters that have come out of New York, great talent, they burn out quick. They just do. They burn out quick.
Wait a minute. I gotta call you out on that. Shannon Briggs. Look at him now. He still wants to fight.
Oh, come on. But Shannon Briggs was which is true. I'll give you that. Shannon Briggs is 50.
Yeah, he's a
Shannon
50.
Briggs has got to be close to 50. Okay?
Yeah.
If not, he's 50. But everybody knows that he was on steroids. I mean, that's been forever. That's been since the 90s. So, but anyway, like most of the dudes there, most of the dudes from New York, they burn out quickly. I have thoughts of why this happens, but I'm not going to get into that. But it's just the truth. It's just like, so I don't trust. No, I don't really trust. And plus, take New York out of it. He could have been from fucking California, Chicago, anywhere, the South somewhere. His attitude is of a guy who, as of right now, I want to fight everybody. I want to fight them now. I'm willing to engage. And guys like that, they have a short run, bro. They have a short run and then they burn out. I think right now he fucks all those guys up. Out of all the young guys we just talked about, he wins.
Well, listen,
let's talk about 3 years from now, 4 years from now. Let's see who develops more. I have a feeling he's not going to be one of them.
Well, listen, you might be right because I mean, he's going to be moving up soon. Lomachenko might not last too long at the pace he's going, so age might catch up with Lomachenko. It looks like he's slowing down just a tiny little bit. By the way, before we continue, guys, sorry, let's go to the phone lines real quick. We got a phone call. Let's go to 509. 509, you're on the air.
Hey, recognize, AOB, you talking mad crazy about New York, man. What state you from?
I'm from New York, bro. Where you think I'm from? I'm from Queens. From Queens, my nigga.
Right, Brooklyn. Yo.
Yeah, fuck. I'm from Queens, nigga. Like I said.
New York got Danny Jacobs.
Yeah, but Danny Jacobs ain't
Mike
a fucking
Tyson.
great fighter coming out of Brooklyn. He ain't nothing like we're going to remember him for 50 years from now.
Let the caller speak his mind. Go ahead, caller.
My bad. Go ahead, man.
No, I'm not from New York, but I was trying to defend New York. They got
you have me tight, boy. I was like,
you could tell Recognize was going into street mode. He was like, oh fuck, here we go. I actually
Especially
heard
when you said he's
recognize.
from Brooklyn. I was like, yeah, nigga, I'm from Queens. What's up?
I actually heard recognize cocking his gun. I actually like.
Yeah.
It's like
He was
Nah,
taking us
that was
through.
good. 509. I like that. Funny.
Oh damn. No, I'm from Washington.
509 tricked
Washington
me and
State,
shit.
on the other side.
you're from
Yeah.
Washington, you said, or what?
Hey, but yeah,
Okay.
Washington State. Yeah, the other side of the country.
Washington State or DC?
Yeah.
State,
No,
he said.
State. Washington
State. He's on the other side.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, way far. But I saw what do you guys have on Oscar versus Purnell? Because I rewatched that fight and I gave it to Oscar by like a couple of rounds. What
I
do you
gave it
guys
to
remember
Oscar
about
too.
that fight?
Oscar Purnell Whitaker. Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, because I just rewatched it yesterday and I gave him, and the knockdown didn't look like he kind of tripped on that knockdown, but I still gave him the 2 points. But I had Oscar winning that fight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Pernell Whitaker was doing something
What
that
do you-
he did in the
Backing
Trinidad
up
fight.
too much.
Well, and when he did come forward, he was doing what he did against Trinidad a lot, which was holding with his right hand and just trying to dig uppercuts on the inside with left hands. And like Corruption said earlier about the Rigo Lomachenko fight, those type of punches judges don't tend to count those. They might have an effect on the other guy, but judges aren't going to count that. So I had De La Hoya. Depends on which day I watch it, but the last time I watched it, I had De La Hoya squeaking it. I think he won the last 2-3 rounds, and he did land. I remember at the time people were saying, "Oh, Pernell Whitaker schooled him," and I used to think, well, I didn't see. I think it was just people hated De La Hoya back then. A lot of people hated him.
Of course they did, including me. I used to hate De La Hoya, but he ain't school.
That's crazy. I watched the Trinidad fight yesterday in Dai Corte. Yeah, and you watched De La Hoya. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. What was that caller? What did you say?
Yeah, no, that's what I was reading. That it was a controversial decision, and I saw it. And I favored Oscar's win, so I think that's one of his best wins, and that was pretty cool to see. Because this is before my I didn't watch the late '90s boxing. I got into it like in the mid early 2000s, so that was pretty cool to watch. And man, Oscar was a beast. The way he's throwing it, the way he's throwing that jab and that hook, man, he was like he was way different from like Manny Pacquiao. Oscar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that De La Hoya was he was always going through trainers back then. He didn't have a lot of confidence in a particular style.
He went through trainers like he went through women. And guys.
or like panties. But the thing is, he hired a guy.
Trainers like he went through a fishnet.
That's right. Yeah, but he had hired a guy for that fight and for the Miguel Angel Gonzalez fight. He hired El Maestrito Lopez, I believe it was. I think Gonzalo can correct me on that one. And this is the guy. Yeah, this is the guy that had trained Miguel Canto back in the days, one of the greatest bantamweights of all time. But after that Canto camp, he sort of disappeared. He didn't really want to train more people. But De La Hoya or somebody, I forget who, dug him out and said, "Hey, listen, you want to train me?" And he said, "All right, yeah, whatever." And he had him looking good, man. He had him with a lot of head movement, more head movement than we'd seen at that point. He was sharp. I mean, yeah, that De La Hoya against Pacquiao, man. It's not a sure win for Pacquiao, I know. Yeah.
Yeah, man, that's all I just want to ask you guys on that because I just saw it yesterday. Thanks for taking my call. Cool show, man.
Thank you, 509, and keep the fire under Recognizes feet. All right, we got him going about this whole New York thing.
Yeah.
All right, take it easy, man. Have a good night.
All right.
By the way, BDA, can I ask something? Who'd you have winning Guy Corte versus De La Hoya fight?
Oh,
Corte.
Corruption, you take it because I'm very hesitant about this one.
Like Corte.
Corte, but like decisively or very close? Or?
Yeah, decisive.
I must tell you, he almost had him knocked out on the last round. Yeah, he put him on the
referee could have
canvas.
stopped it in the last round. He could have stopped it.
Yeah, but he didn't stop it, and De La Hoya punched himself out. So yeah, it was the right call. But you know what? It's interesting though. Before the fight, I mean, before they actually the bell rang, De La Hoya was very tense. Even Lampley said, "Well, he's looking very tense." I'm one of the people that thinks that he was really. It was one of those fights that he didn't really want to take, De La Hoya. Because I mean, think about it. Yeah. Who had he fought back then to prepare himself? He fought at lightweight. At lightweight, it was his best run. when he beat Genaro Hernandez and Rafael Ruelas and all those guys. But even then, he was more of a welterweight back then. At welterweight, junior welterweight, he beat an old Chavez. He fought him a second time, which was completely unnecessary. Camacho, Miguel Angel Gonzalez. Okay, that was a good win for the division. Whitaker, you get where I'm going with this. Good wins, but they were past their best. Corte represented the first time he fought a guy that was just as strong as he was, in his prime, quick, and with that caution. And people forget how tough Corte was back then. I mean, he was busting people up, with the exception of what was the guy's name? Jose Luis Lopez, that big Mexican badass that never really went anywhere afterwards.
Yeah, that's right. And Fernando Vargas, maybe.
But Vargas was later. But what I'm saying is, in the build-up to the Corte fight, De La Hoya looked very, very tense. I don't think he necessarily wanted to avoid the guy, but I do think he knew what he was up against, because I'd never seen De La Hoya that tense before. I don't know what you guys think about that.
Yeah, it was nerves, because I think in round 5 or 6, when his corner sat him down, they were saying to him, calm down, get your head right. It definitely indicated that there was that his preparation, or the nerves of step the first time, may have overcome his ability on that. So yeah, I would corroborate.
And that's,
He showed.
Go ahead, Gonzalo.
Go ahead, BDA.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, he showed heart in the last round, doing what he did, dropping the guy and getting him on the ropes. That was a really good round, but it kind of spoiled it in the end, because they were very active. But like the later minute and a half, they didn't do nothing. They just say they ruined that round.
Yeah, it was like a ruined
orgasm. It was really, really good. Yeah, day and night. That's
but
all.
It's interesting though. Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. I do have to give De La Hoya a lot of credit, because there's a reason why he stopped punching too much and he was very conservative in the middle rounds. It's because he didn't want to get caught by Corte. He felt the guy's power. If you look at the first 4 rounds, he would try to flurry the last 10 seconds, and he was getting the worst of it. But he went into that 12th round with the heart of a champion, and he opened up and he went for it and he got the knockdown. And I think, how many guys would have just stayed back and said, you know what, I don't want to get stopped. Let me just go to the decision. That's going to be my win, that I went the distance and I didn't get stopped. He went for it, man. I mean, you got to give De La Hoya credit, man. That motherfucker he fought as many people top people as he could. There was a point where I hated the guy. There was a point where I really rooted against him. But now, in hindsight, give him his credit.
I saw Joel.
Man, hold on one sec, Gonzalo. I was just gonna say, bro, you can't. I mean, he's obviously a dickhead outside, a peckerhead outside. Sorry, BDA, outside the ring. But like, bro, you can't take nothing away what that dude did inside the ring, bro. He fought everybody. Whether you thought he won this fight, lost that fight, whatever. Because I thought he won PB Tito, and I thought he won the Mosley rematch. I thought he lost to Felix Sturm.
I agree with that. Yep.
Yeah.
I thought he beat Trinidad, and the only reason he lost is because he ran on his on the last 3 rounds, right? So.
It's funny. I was watching that one last night, and I saw it. I didn't know that they forgot to bring Tito Trinidad's mouthpiece to the fight.
Yeah. What the fuck was that? Yeah, they forgot.
Sorry, PDA. No, I was just gonna say that's one of the first fight parties I remember as a kid, bro. Because I was like 8 when Tito and Oscar fought, bro. Because then I was rooting for Tito because all my cousins, older cousins that are like recognized his age, was all Rican, bro. So
right.
I was rooting for Tito, man.
Oh, come on.
And even I was like, man, he lost that shit.
I remember.
Don't get me wrong. I was happy when he gave him the decision, but I was like, it was more out of shock, really. But I remember saying, like, nah, man, I feel like in terms of rounds, he lost more rounds. De La Hoya won more rounds.
My pops, like Tito, and my uncle Bubba, he was my sensei in karate. They was already going at it before the fight because he loved De La Hoya. My dad was like, "Fuck that pretty boy cocksucker," and so they was already going at it. But when they was playing cards and shit, I remember that was like I said, that was like one of the first fight parties I remember as a kid. Good memories.
That was definitely not a great fight.
No,
it was like watching Pacquiao Mayweather.
Yeah, exactly. It was it was definitely anticlimactic. Let's put like you said with the last round of it reminds me a lot of why I respect Pacquiao because when I would go watch Mayweather pay-per-views, I would go like I wasn't really looking that much forward to the main event, but when Pacquiao fought, you knew there was going to be some action. Now I wanted to say something about the De La Hoya Trinidad fight. I remember watching that. Gonzalo, I think you saw that on the Discord that there's a guy that's been posting the complete pay-per-view broadcasts for some of these 90s fights, and he posted Trinidad De La Hoya. And I was rewatching it, and I was just like skipping to certain parts, obviously. And I was watching the undercard, and then there's a part where I think it was Christy Martin fighting somebody, and bing, bing, or Mia St. John, sorry. Anyway, the round ends, they go to the corner, and then they go to the dressing room for De La Hoya. And you see him there, they're wrapping his hands. And I remember I got a glimmer of that feeling you get that I got when you're at the bar watching the fight and you still got like 2-3 fights on the undercard, but you see them in the locker room, the guys, and you go, oh shit, the main event is still coming up. You start getting pumped up. I said, I don't know why. I get a bit of nostalgia watching that clip.
Yeah, me too. I went into a special place yesterday when I was watching those cards, just hearing Dr. Freddy Pacheco and Bobby Chiz. I thought those were great commentators, man.
Yeah, man. And by the way, we're going to continue talking here a little bit about that. I wanted to tie that in, the whole De La Hoya thing, to the current fighters that we're talking about here. But before we do that, let's go to 954. 954, you're on. All right, 954, you're on the air. 954.
Florida. Hey, how you guys doing? Thanks. I called a couple weeks ago. We talked about I had made the James Toney reference during your pound for pound talk.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm lucky enough to catch your show tonight. So first of all, thank you for letting me on. Love your show. Love talking about boxing.
Thank you.
You're on the subject. I just called. I just patched in though, so I don't know what the topic is except for you're talking about De La Hoya and the whole Cortez thing. I'm with you guys. It was a close fight that in that 12th round he really did dig deep and kind of showed his mettle, because after he got knocked down, Cortez returned the knockdown the 6th round. The fight really started going in Cortez's favor, and he turned it back around the 12th round and showed what he was made of. In the Trinidad fight, you guys were talking about where you were. I'm prior service, and at the time we pulled into Puerto Rico that night, and so I was watching the fight in a club.
Sorry to hear that.
And it just so happens, that I had a perfect environment to be in, because anytime Trinidad even sneezed, they cheered, and anytime De La Hoya did anything, they cheered on the TV and the speaker. So it was so loud on both sides at all times that I kind of nullified everything and just got to see and watch the fight. Now, how I scored it, one day I might score it 7-5 to Trinidad. One I might score it 7-5 at De La Hoya, due to the fact that De La Hoya thought he had the fight won after the 7th round. But at the time, a friend of mine who knew nothing about boxing looked right at me and goes, "He's going to lose this fight." I said, "Yeah, I'm worried about Trinidad." He goes, "No, De La Hoya's going to lose this fight. He's not doing anything." And I mean, I was just looked at him like he was crazy, because he really never watches the sport, knew nothing what he was talking about. And sure enough, as it got read, the entire bar just exploded as if he just won the presidential election in Puerto Rico. And beers being
I can imagine, yeah.
over my buddy, and I'm like, this guy that doesn't even know boxing was seeing the fact that De La Hoya was going to lose. And me being someone's been following this boxing since the age of 6, and I was in my 20s at the time, I'm like, there's no way that you know what you're talking about. And then sure enough, look what happened. Maybe he knew something I didn't. I don't know. But
interesting.
Anyway,
I've always said this, man. Sometimes the best fans to judge a fight are the casuals. Sometimes they got it 100% dead on. We kind of complicate things. But what I would say is this: is that De La Hoya definitely disgraced himself in the last 3 rounds. That was almost dreadful to watch what he was doing.
Yeah,
if he actually would have turned the gas on just a tad bit more from the 7th round on, he might have scored those flash knockdowns that everybody else and their grandmother got against Trinidad, except for Oscar, and might have actually won him the fight. And then the star that he would have been, we can't even measure that, because that was the fight that turned the tables from Oscar still being a star, but Trinidad becoming a star, then De La Hoya transcending into a mega star, like Sugar Ray Leonard type, beat everyone that you've ever seen kind of star. And that was the one swing fight that did that, because the only opponent he had left that meant anything, even all the way up to 154, was Trinidad.
Exactly. Yeah, they'd all beaten the same, more or less the same guys. There was James Page, but I mean, nobody cared about James Page. But I don't understand why. I still to this day do not understand why De La Hoya. I mean, he says, "Well, I was tired." Yeah, but you're moving nonstop for the last 3 rounds. I mean, you can't be that tired. I mean, and your hands
How
were up.
fucking
So
tired was you? You were fucking running a marathon in there.
yeah, man. I mean, it's
Hey,
one of the
some
most.
people add in one more thing before I let you guys go, or you're going to let me go, rightfully so, because you have a show to do. But some people are like, why didn't Trinidad stick around one more time for that James Page fight? If memory serves, Jim Lampley said before that fight that Trinidad said in their fighters meeting that was going to be his last fight at welterweight, win, lose, or draw. So De La Hoya fought, and my translation of that is De La Hoya fought a Trinidad that was killing himself to stay there to try and fight the guys that didn't want to fight him when he first won his world title. For the record, he and Pernell Whitaker won their titles at welterweight the same year in 1993.
Yeah, that
And
Trinidad.
nobody lined up to fight, and then they didn't even fight till 1999.
Well, I don't know if you remember how.
Showing how long it was for Trinidad to wait.
Yeah, because I don't know if you remember the story to that was that Trinidad was with Don King, and there was a period in the 90s where Don King had relegated himself to fighting in Showtime.
And the Arams.
And the Arams, yeah. Well, yeah, Aram too.
Bob, no, I'm sorry, not the Arams, the Duvas. I'm sorry, Duvas.
Oh, the Duvas, yeah. But
Have Pernell Whitaker.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So it was.
Bob Aram would have done business, but that's a different story. But yeah, there was a big war between the Duvas and Don King in the 80s and the early 90s, and that's all there is to that. I would talk longer, but you got a show to do, and I'm not part of it. So you guys have a great night, and thank you for letting me call in. I enjoy your show.
All right, man. Thank you for calling in, man. Take it easy out there, and call back next time.
You too.
All right.
Oh, no problem. All right, bye-bye.
All right, bye. Yeah, it's interesting going down memory lane with these fights, because I mean it was the fight of the millennium. The fight of the millennium. And by the way, speaking of
being done, but yeah,
yeah.
I mean, in terms of the hype between them two, it was a very anticipated fight.
Man, listen, they were both 26 years old, undefeated, power punchers in their primes. It's like you looked at it on paper, it was a can't miss type of fight, and boy, they did miss. Boy, they didn't miss. But I wanted to say something in regards to that. De La Hoya went for it in that last round against Corte. He did fight Trinidad. He fought Whitaker. He fought Chavez. He fought all these names that I could just roll off right now. You never know with a guy when he's coming up. And that's why we're taking a look at these 4 guys. Haney, Lopez, Tank Davis, and Ryan Garcia. You look at those 4 guys' undefeated records and you think, wow, they're going to go all the way. The chances that one of them turns into an all-time great are very, very low. I'm still wanting to see, like Recognize keeps pointing out about Lopez, which one of these guys has the stones that when the fight he's behind and he's getting outboxed. Let's say Lopez is getting outboxed, something that he's never had to endure in the professional ranks. Is he going to jump at the chance? Is he going to pull the trigger and say, you know what, let me just go for broke like De La Hoya did in that 12th round against Corte and really try? That's what I want to see.
I think he would. I hope he grows as a fighter, like his mentality. But I think if any guy would probably be somebody like him.
Because he's got power.
Behind on the scorecard and go for it, yeah. I could definitely see him do it.
Yeah, because he's got power. See, you have to have power to be able to take those types of chances. A guy like Haney, I like the fact that he's extremely quick. He's extremely quick on the trigger. And if he can add a couple more wrinkles to his game, maybe more feints, more ways of attacking, I'm pretty sure he can hold his own on the inside right now, in sparring, let's say. But I don't know how he would fare against a really good inside fighter in the professional ranks. But he's not the type of guy that I see going for broke if he's getting outboxed. Go ahead, Corrosion.
I mean, that's the problem, BDA. I think the 2 fighters that are currently trained by their fathers probably have the most limitations. Because if you look at the difference between skills and talent is something which is organic, indigenous, even natural, whether it's natural power, hand speed itself, athleticism. But skills are obviously attributes that one acquires through long and arduous process of coaching, education, practicing, perfecting, and then finally implementing. Now, Gervonta Davis is regressing because what he's doing in the ring now, he's now overstretching all the time, lunging in with punches, and sadly, that talent which he had has not been enhanced to the sense that he's acquired additional skills through indiscipline, through a chaotic situation with where he's going to reside, whether it's Baltimore or somewhere else, and the fact that he's been paid, he's been well overcompensated for the amount of purses for fighting next to nobodies. So therefore, he's no longer got the hunger, and therefore he feels that he should be on some sort of a pedestal by virtue of who promotes him. But Floyd Mayweather is not stupid. He may be illiterate, but he's one of the shrewdest guys in the history of boxing. Now, when Floyd Mayweather tells Tank Davis that you're clearly not ready to fight Vasily Lomachenko, he's actually being serious there because he knows it's going to be a comprehensive ass whooping because his guy hasn't got it at the moment and he's not doing anything about it as well, despite his best interest to try and motivate him and get him out of Baltimore, etc. Now, Haney is still with his father, but I can see limitations with him as well. I haven't seen anything in the last couple of years, but he's still very young, so the capacity to obviously improve is there. And Teofimo is the same as well. So I think there's limitations with those guys being trained by their father, whereas Ryan Garcia, I feel he's made the best strategic move in going to a world-class trainer, where he's got not only the pound for pound number one in some people's eyes, within the same camp, but he's got the Rhinoceros have acquired other great fighters as well. So it's a very good camp. And his performances under the Rhinoceros has been eye-catching. He's been knocking cats out in the first round whatsoever. So clearly, I think he's in the better position now, where he's actually, he's getting world-class coaching. He's starting to change his style up a little bit. He'll obviously get his man strength as well and get physically bigger and better as well. So I think the upside with him is probably the highest.
So you're saying, who did you say? I'm sorry, I missed it, the last part.
Ryan Garcia.
Ryan Garcia.
Yeah.
I tell you something, that I think you might be right because of the height. He's a guy that could transition to other weight divisions. One thing I don't like, however, is I was rewatching that video there from Hopkins, where Hopkins was arguing with Devin Haney and his father, and he referred to Ryan Garcia as a superstar. Now, I don't know if he was doing it for the cameras, but if he's telling that, him and other promoters are telling Ryan Garcia, oh yeah, you're a superstar. 21 years old, hasn't sold out a decent venue.
Yeah.
He probably does think right now, oh yeah, I'm a superstar. I want $5 million to fight Tank Davis.
Yeah,
but
you
Johnny's right as well. There's a lot of defensive lapses there when we don't really know about his punch resistance.
Mm-hmm.
He looks like one of those pretty boys that just get bitch slapped once and he'll be, horizontal on the canvas. So
Who are you talking about corruption?
Ryan.
Ryan Garcia.
I think he stands up straight. The thing that I noticed with him that he stands up straight because look, he's tall and he's got fast reflexes. So he's catching you from the corner of his peripheral and he's looking down at you. And he knows that he's got fast reflexes to pull away from you and counter you with that left hook and having the size advantage. That's why he stands up straight. That's what I noticed.
You know what he should do? What he should get into? And I hope De La Hoya teaches him this. See how he throws that that left hook? Have him have him get used to like dipping his body down just a little bit low, not where your head is over your lead knee, your lead foot, the knee, and have him when he does that turn and have himself in position to let off the right hook again. If he gets into something like that and he can make that an instinct, right? He would be very dangerous to come in on because especially when he's fighting shorter guys. When he's fighting,
bro, if somebody's 5-6 inches taller than you, bro, you know, especially if they know how to jab, bro, they're hard to hit. That's why when the little motherfuckers get inside, they got to make it count, bro.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, it's happened to me before. I'd be sparring or fucking fighting some dude who's like 6'3", 6'4", you know. I can't get in. So when I get in, I got to, make it count.
Yeah, man. And you know what? the big question then is which one of those four guys has the higher ceiling? When it comes to guys like Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney, they both have very similar styles. They're very quick on the trigger, counter punchers, one punch at a time. So far, they've been way too quick for most of the guys they've fought. I want to see what happens when they go to war. I want to see what happens if they can fight on the inside. Ryan Garcia, I'm not too sure he can do it. Devin Haney, I've seen him do it in sparring, so I'm assuming that he could do it in the professional ranks if he keeps working at it. But those guys, I don't see them having that type of power. They don't have the type of power that Tank Davis and Lopez have. Now, Lopez and Tank Davis, they have better punching power. Yep. I can see them having that grit that they want to go for it.
They go for it. They go for it. They got that killer instinct in them.
I think Ryan does have that power, BDA. He's got a lot of people might not know this, but he's got a lot of first and second round knockouts in his short career, which I might say a lot this early. But like Reynoso said that he got heavy hands, and we all know he's fast. So you put those together, then you add on the strength that Recognize was mentioning when he matures. And, man, you're going to have a power puncher. So we just got to see how he has it on the both hands.
Look, if he was to fight, if he was to fight, what's his name? Teofimo right now? Teofimo will beat him up.
Yeah.
He'll get him late. Or maybe like mid-rounds.
A counter puncher will beat him at the moment because he's a little bit like Amir Khan and even Gary Russell to a certain extent. Those they fall in love with their hand speed, and it's the same combinations at the same times.
Yeah.
I think Teofimo is a counter punch on the front foot, and that is a style. I think that
Teofimo would catch and shoot with Ryan Garcia, bro. He'd knock it. Right now, he'd knock his block off, bro. Yeah. But you can tell Ryan's not done growing either because he's still got that. Because like that was like how I was though too. I didn't really finish growing until I was like 21, 22.
Yeah, that's when man usually stops growing in height and he starts getting bigger in body size.
Oh yeah, you're always gonna get bigger in body size till like you're the age of 32. That's why most fighters mature and they're around the age of 30. They're going up another division just naturally.
That's right.
You're gonna. It's like a dog, a pit bull. When he's 7 years old, that's when he's the strongest because he keeps growing wider in his girth. A dog will always. Just an example. That's just how a man is.
Gonzalo's experience growing up in the dog fighting sheds. There, I mean, he used to watch his family. So
no, but he's so right though. It's true. You look at a dog. The dog starts. It gets a certain length, but then what happens is once that stops. You see the muscles start growing out, sort of like human beings. You know, like I said, I got a son who's 6'4". I swear to God, he's been 6'4" since like 17 or 18. You know, now he's got fucking man size to him now. Now he's a big motherfucker. You know.
Yeah, you better avoid him, man. By the way,
he'll kick my ass if I ever get out of line.
All right, listen, we gotta go to the phone calls real quick. 954, you're on the air. 954.
Yeah,
Florida.
Again, now that I've been listening a little bit longer and I hear the shows about the upcoming guys, love everything you're saying. Like a lot of it. Someone, the English fellow, made a comment about Devin Haney, and not Devin Haney. Sorry, Gervonta Davis, and about how he's regressing and everything. Again, hit the nail on the head. In regards towards Garcia and Devin Haney. This is a key moment where they need to keep progressing in order to not be like Gervonta Davis. Because 4 years ago, everyone was saying Gervonta Davis had a huge ceiling and sky's the limit, but he stood with his feet square, had his hands down, stuck his chin out, and didn't really move his head much. Okay, it's been 4 years and we're saying the same thing. He hasn't fixed those problems. His camp hasn't fixed those problems. The 50-0 greatest boxing minds of all time hasn't helped. Tank Davis hasn't fixed those problems. Floyd Mayweather Sr., who's not training him but is around the gym where he trains, isn't fixing his problems. So they haven't done anything other than invest money into this kid to fix these problems. So for Devin Haney and for Ryan Garcia, because he fights tall, one of the gentlemen mentioned that, but he leaves his chin up too much. De La Hoya used to tuck that chin down. He used to put that arch in the back of his neck because he was so much taller than everybody else to protect that chin. Ryan Garcia doesn't do that very much. This is the time to do that. This is the time to fix that.
Because to start getting him into that habit. I agree. I totally agree. Yeah.
You bring up a good point. A whole bunch of.
Fix it now.
Was that if they don't fix it now, there's going to be trouble down the line.
Because it becomes instinct. It becomes second nature.
Right.
You know, so you got to start showing, like, look, the whole Wilder thing. You know, it's like it's going to be very hard for him to change the way he fights. You know what I'm saying? Like just to change the whole thing, it's going to be very hard. So because he's been doing it, he's 34 years old, so he's kind of like used to that shit.
Oh, and you compound that the pride that they don't
I'm
think
go back
nothing's
old school
broke.
real quick on you.
They're not
Terry
willing
Norris,
to fix it,
in
man.
his
That's
30s,
double whammy.
his early 30s, he changed a little bit. But what he did is he already had this foundation. He just had to go back to it. Okay, so that Wilder he never had that foundation. So there's nothing for him to go back to. So like you said, he's not just going back and he's not rediscovering muscles he's worked before. He'd be reinventing the wheel. For these guys, they're still developing. Yeah. If they develop it now, they won't have to worry about it later.
That's a good point, man. Now, the problem with Tank Davis is you said that about him, about how he hasn't improved. If he would have kept up some form of momentum after the Pedraza win, if he would have fought some live guys that would have at least, went for it against him, he would have been tested. And now, the only way you can improve, we all know in life, in anything you do, is if you go through a certain amount of adversity, because that's where you learn what your weak points are.
Oh, yeah.
Tank Davis has done none of that.
Absolutely.
None. I mean, Old Gamboa.
They've kept him from being in those positions to where they never would expose anything. It's kind of like with the way Mayweather does anything. He doesn't like to show you his whole hand. He likes to show you his winning hands. Mm-hmm. He's doing that with Tank Davis too. He's presenting Tank Davis as a winning hand. But whether he knows the weaknesses or not, he's not even testing them. He doesn't want to know what they are. He wants to make money off of this guy. And that's the only real moneymaker he's got. But because he wants to be the greatest promoter, just like he was the greatest fighter, you got to lose sometimes. And
exactly.
Floyd didn't want to lose, therefore he doesn't want Gervonta to lose. And so if he's not going to lose, he's not going to learn anything.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right, man. And
he didn't have to lose as a fighter, but he's going to have to lose as a trainer. He's going to have to lose as a manager. He's going to have to lose as a promoter. And
you know what?
He needs to learn that real soon.
You take a look at Miguel Cotto, also brought up by Bob Arum, who brought up Mayweather. There was a period, 2005, where Cotto, remember, he got wobbled by Corley. He almost got stopped against Torres. People were saying, he's just a Puerto Rican version of Arturo Gatti. Very derisory type remarks. But he actually got better from that.
I remember heard something like that.
Yeah, he got better. He tightened up his defense, moved up.
He was...
Go ahead.
So with some of these guys, they may have, first of all, Teofimo Lopez is definitely the most commodity of the ones you're talking about because of who he's fought. That's not even a debate. Referring back to Cotto, as true as everything you said, Larry Merchant hit something on the head prior to that, and I think it was against Victor Sosa. His biggest battle was going to be on the scales. I think his legs were weak down there because he shouldn't have been at 140. He should have moved up to 147 a little bit earlier, but Gotti was there. Ricky Hatton was there. Mayweather was there. The money was there. And then when the money started to dissipate by things going in different directions, that's when they let him move up, and he turned out to be an all-time great Puerto Rican legend.
Exactly. I mean, it's you gotta. By the way, corruption. Your microphone is you're blowing into your microphone or rubbing it or something. Yeah, man. I mean, listen, you gotta forge these guys through fire. It's a tough sport, and the only way to get tougher is to go through that type of fire. Otherwise, you're gonna be.
You know what's crazy about this whole thing is that they don't realize that they're kind of stopping their growth. These guys should be fighting each other to prove that they can fight Lomachenko.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? Instead of saying I deserve it without fighting some
Lomachenko's
sharp
at
names.
the top. He's been where he's at. He's proven where he needs to be. They need to have eliminators to prove where they need to be. And I'm trying to take up too much of your show again. Love you guys. Talk to you later.
That's okay, man. Thank you for calling in, man. Thank you for calling in. Good points. Yeah, man. I mean, what was that, Reckless? What were you saying about? He mentioned the tournament.
I think what they don't realize is this: when you don't fight each other, to see who's going to be the better. In other words, trying to procrastinate, fighting each other to build it up for later on in the future. Mm-hmm. It kind of stops your growth. I mean, if you look at guys like Sugar Ray Leonard, when the politics weren't as bad, right? Because politics always exists, but at least it was in-house. They were all Americans or South Americans. So that, okay, whoever loses, who cares? Whoever wins or loses, who cares? It starts with us. But now that you got all these other entities in boxing, and everybody's got their own self-interest, their own promotions, whatever. It kind of stops their growth because you should be fighting these dudes. Okay? It's like anything. I always bring it back to the streets. Who do you fight when you're growing up? The guys around you. You don't wait later on. Fight them now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? You fight these dudes now. And you grow. You see who grows out of. Sometimes you might be better when you're younger. The guy that you beat up today might fuck you up 5 years from now. You know what I'm saying? That's how it goes.
Exactly. And that's why Tank Davis, for me, his upside is low because he's getting older. I think about Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson, fast reflexes, short, compact punches, similar to Gervonta Davis, if you can make a comparison. And as he got older, he's going to lose that speed. And he's a short guy. And if we add to the fact that we know that, look, he doesn't throw a lot of punches. He threw like 300 punches in the Gamboa fight. Now, he's got knockout power, but he's been knocking guys out that are 120, 226 pounders like Hugo Ruiz. Will he get away with that fighting 140 pounders? No, his upside is limited. He can't do anything above 135, and he's even having a hard time making that weight on the scale. So he's all over the place.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, Tank Davis.
Such a talented fighter, just irrevocably destroying his career. Bad choices, ill discipline, domestic abuse, arrogance, no humility. It's just very sad.
Drinking, a lot of drinking.
Yeah. I can tell you one of them weak points that Tank Davis has. It's just that Popeye's chicken menu, bro. It's
all right, you know what? That's no. That's,
listen, I don't doubt that he eats a lot of Popeyes, but I'm telling you, like, where that comes from is the drinking, the smoking, maybe some other stuff. You know how that is. You know, when you're doing all that stuff.
Don't nobody, as far as I know, don't nobody know better than I do about that, bro. Because, bro, when you get up, bro, if you out for a night of drinking, bro, you gonna get up and you gonna get up at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And
I know. I know. And go back to sleep, right? You're gonna go right back to sleep.
Shit food. You're gonna eat some shitty ass food and pass back out. Yeah, exactly.
Well, it just goes to show you, boxing is a very tough job. Professional boxing, it's a grind. You'll talk to a lot of boxers and they'll tell you the same thing, that the fights aren't exactly the hardest part. That they're actually the fun part. The grind is the day-to-day training. And
can you imagine the BDA if he had the discipline of a guy like Lomachenko?
You know what?
Mayweather, Floyd Mayweather.
That's the thing. He doesn't have it, and I'm surprised Mayweather doesn't recognize it.
Oh no, he does. I know he does. I think Mayweather's just playing. Look, he's a money ploy right now. If it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, okay, it is what it is. That's how Floyd sees it. Because I'm sure he talked to this kid already. Like, yo, get out of there. Floyd knows how bad Baltimore is. He knows what that environment's like. He probably told. It's not Baltimore itself. It's the people he surrounds himself with. Okay, so he's like, yo, go somewhere where it's nice and quiet, and you can just focus on boxing. And you know what? There's a good chance Floyd probably realized that's not in him. That's not what motivates him. What motivates him is him hanging out, drinking, then getting himself ready for a fight, and his boys hyping him up until one day that backfires on him. You know what I'm saying? One day that's gonna backfire on him.
And you know why? That's what we're talking about, support system, in order to ask which one of these guys is going to make it. And if you have less than reputable people around you, such as Tank Davis does, you're not going to make it. Teofimo has his father, but there seems to be a bit of a rift between them. There's the wife, and sometimes trainer-wife fighter dynamics, they don't work out. There's some tension there. Ryan Garcia, he's like people say, he's the good-looking kid who smiles, and you take him. If you're a girl, you take him home, and he can charm the whole family. But I think he's a psycho. Deep down inside, I think he's got some bodies in the closet or something. Like I think he likes to skin girls and wear their skin. There's something there. I'm telling you, I'm exaggerating, but there's something there about him. And
I think you're onto something. Yeah,
I know I'm onto something, man.
He's got to be a little fucked up with all the nights he slept over at Oscar's house. But
there you go. He's like Macaulay Culkin, and they'll always Michael Jackson and Ryan Garcia is Macaulay Culkin or whatever his name is, that guy from the Home Alone.
Canelo's had it up to fucking eyeballs when it comes to De La Hoya. At this point, it's like, De La Hoya, you don't speak unless I tell you to speak.
Yeah, and De La Hoya takes it. And De La Hoya takes it because he's a sub. He's the guy that lies on.
No, he also knows Canelo's a man, and there's you gotta chill. He's on thin ice. Look, De La Hoya's done well for him, but at this point, I don't think Canelo needs him right now. You know what I'm saying? So.
Possibly, man. That would be interesting. I know Jimmy used to say, he was saying that Tank Davis had an awful childhood, which would explain why he's got this out of control behavior.
Oh, you could see it. Look how he treats his body. That's a number one sign. Here's a good sign of somebody who really doesn't like themselves. Like tattoos all over your face, all over your body, your neck. Okay, I understand a couple of tattoos. I think everybody's guilty of that, but not where you're tatting your whole sculpture, your whole body.
You're talking about me now, though.
Huh?
The only legit people who do that are the Yakuza. That's it.
Yeah, or the M13. But so, Reckon, so you're saying that you're saying by virtue of the tattoos and obviously the way he treats women and the partying.
Yeah, he got anger issues. He hates he's mad. He's still mad at his mother for whatever it is, and maybe he has good reason to. He tats his body up.
Yeah, man. I mean, he's got some issues, man. He's got some issues. What?
Sorry about that.
No, that's no problem. Listen, what I'm saying is, he seems to be, if you had to pick one guy that's probably not going to make it all the way or fulfill a great boxing career, it's probably Tank Davis. And it's unfortunate, but that's what boxing is. It's a very tough sport professionally.
Look, Bernard Hopkins, rough, disciplined, from the streets, in prison, but different mindset. This guy's all about his body is his weapon. It's what's going to make him money. A guy like Tank uses his body as like something that you can just dump on.
Yeah.
Like it's just something. There's two different minds. They're both in the streets. One guy has a very disciplined lifestyle. The other one is more like a guy with a lot of talent, but he's just taking it for granted. He's just like, this shit's gonna be here no matter what. I'm gonna always be fast. I'm gonna always punch hard. Like, all right, dude, you keep thinking that, man. Wait till gravity starts catching up to you.
Yeah.
It looks like it looked like it already is.
Yeah, man. It's only gonna get worse if he keeps gaining weight. That gravity is gonna get even worse. But the point is this, man. I mean, listen, it's a tough sport. It's a test. Boxing is a test. Some guys, they don't look at their career as a job, and not in, because some people look at, when you hear the word job, some people say, oh wait, that means a professional. What I'm saying is some people look at the job as in something they don't want to do. Some people don't want to train. Some people.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with like loving what you do. I mean, after a while, man, you could look at something as a job. Like, we all have jobs here. I have a job. I love my job. To be honest with you, I do. Is it a pain in the ass? Of course it is. But I don't treat it like shit. I don't treat it like it's always going to be there. Right? I think that Tank is one of those kids, and that could be just lack of experience. But he's got good people behind him. Like, look, Floyd is a mess, like with his personal life and the kind of attention he likes. I get it. It's like, okay, it's not street shit, but it's like, just this, I'm above you and you're shit and I'm going to prove it to you. That type of thing. But the kid is disciplined. He never tatted his body. He never ruined it. He treated the shit almost like a psychopath. Like he was just real, like fucking dedicated to like being in the greatest shape ever. Right? I don't see that from Tank, man. Tank is the opposite of that. Tank is like, I'm gonna have this shit. I can drink beers and piss it out. I can eat fucking Popeyes and shit it out, and everything's just gonna be fine. One day somebody's gonna punch him in his stomach, and he's gonna taste that Popeye chicken coming up his fucking throat. He's gonna be like, oh shit.
What the
You know?
Yeah, man, he's gonna regurgitate.
Do you know what I think might be the solution? I think if Floyd Mayweather was to dispense being his promoter, but being his full-time trainer, I think that would be beneficial. Because if you see Floyd now, he's training his son and his nephew, and I think he does have the ability to do that. I think if he was Tank's trainer 100%, and obviously staying with him for the whole training camp, 6-8 months, bringing him out to wherever, Las Vegas or wherever Floyd's based in his gym, and just monitor him throughout, I think you'll get a far better fighter.
And that's a good point, man. That's a good corruption. Hold on, just real quick. He might be able to do that for a while. I think that's not a permanent. I don't know if there's a permanent solution for Tank Davis, because I don't know if you would agree with me on this one, but most of the time, guys that need a strict trainer or that depend on a trainer for external motivation to get them to run, to get them to stay disciplined. Guys like James Kirkland with Anna Wolf, or Mike Tyson with at the beginning when he still had that Rooney, not Rooney, but what was the name of the guy? D'Amato, thank you. Yes, the D'Amato connection. Once those guys are gone, these guys break down. So if you're a guy like Tank Davis and you need somebody to get you to get up and train, it's not gonna. It's not gonna end up well down the line, I think.
No, and plus
he said tomato connection.
And plus, they give more precedence to their entourages than their training teams. I don't know if they're two of the same, but I think that the people he surrounds himself with are like yes men, and I don't think they're their actual trainers.
Yeah,
those
exactly.
Guys,
and I think I think corruption is right when he said, "Look, what does Floyd have? A huge ego, right?" Even though I don't think he should be his trainer, I would disagree with corruption just a little bit, because I think the kid needs to, the focus needs to be on him, not right now. Right now, he'll be with a trainer who's more popular than he is, right? And I don't know if it'll work for him. I don't think he's the type of guy that will work. But like, look, man, like it's obvious that Tank has a lot of talent. That's obvious. He's fast. He's got fast punches. He's explosive. He got power. The whole nine. It's just the kid is missing that it factor. That it factor that has nothing to do with your false bravado. It has to do with your training and living the life. And you'll see that his attitude will start to change. When you see the pushing, the outbursts, that's a man who's living chaotically. And eventually you crash. You just burned out, and it happens in the ring sometimes. Most of the time.
Exactly. Look, the crashing and the burning out and the emotional roller coaster. That goes like with the yes men. It's good to have like somebody that's gonna cheer for you. It's gonna get you riled up. But that has its ebbs and its flows. When somebody keeps telling you, "Yeah, you're the best," that might help you out momentarily, but you need to rely on something else to maintain that ability. Not
I'll
just
tell you right
that.
now, when and this is just like something, just an example, and a lot of people could probably tell you the same thing. When I decided to like just clean up my life and live the right, at least try to work on something that's going to benefit me long term. I started cutting off some people, man. Not like I wouldn't answer their call, but I wouldn't hang out with them like I used to. I mean, these were the guys I was getting in trouble with. Why would I keep hanging out with them like that every single day, going hanging out with them,
Well, that's one of the things they say, right? In recovery, substance abuse and all that. They say it's certain triggers are other people. And now you hang around.
That's what I was thinking about, BDA. Like those people, those yes men, those cheerleaders could be like a shot of drugs. They can work on you temporarily, but you need to be consistent with something else. And this would be the training and the gym work.
That's right. That's right.
But I think if Matrix, regarding what you were saying, but if you look at Tyson Fury in his recent bout, when he was with Sugar Hill, did you pay attention to Tyson Fury when he was actually during the minute changeover with Sugar Hill? He was focusing intently. He was listening intuitively because it was respect, and that's why.
Yes.
And the problem with Giovante is that, it's a combination of all these yes men, whatever. Now, if a disciplinarian is not going to work, it's going to have to be some sort of a statutory figure, almost like a Mayweather, where he will have to observe, and there will be respect because he knows what Floyd has achieved in the ring for all those periods. So it's going to be a combination of one of them two, which I think will reinvigorate his career, because he's almost reaching that tipping point now where his natural abilities, his natural punching power is being eroded by these weight factors, and he cannot keep going up because we're seeing now that his power is not really carrying up as it is, and he cannot afford to go to 140 because
I don't think so either. Yeah, you see, here's the thing: corruption. This is what, because I know what Floyd's going to tell him. I could guarantee you what Floyd's going to, like, almost guarantee you. Floyd's going to tell him to cut out some of these people around him. He's not going to do it like all in one shot, say, yeah, cut everyone. No, listen, I want to train you. Now, I agree that the Floyd Mayweather effect, if he just listened, if he actually listened, I think it could do something for him. But some of the terms that Floyd is going to dictate is the amount of contact he has with these people, because it's going to affect Floyd, right? And Floyd, you know how Floyd is. He doesn't want nothing affecting him. He wants you to have your 100% attention towards him. That's basically how it is. And I really doubt that Tank Davis is mature enough to do that. And
I agree. Look. Go ahead, Johnny. Go ahead. All right,
go ahead.
Look, I totally agree. Look, with Floyd Mayweather's entourage, we know he has a lot of bodyguards, but he's the one that always does the talking. He doesn't have other people out talking him. He's got the control of his conversations and whatever's going around. Maybe the girls, but I don't think they control his life like that much.
Mm-hmm.
With all these other guys, maybe like Tyson, they were more impressionable, their mindset. So I have to give credit as far as to Mayweather, how he had control of the people. I don't think Tank Davis is that character.
You know, it's funny. Not as long as you're talking about making your circle small. Like, bro, listen, man. Not all of them, obviously, but some of these dudes that I used to run around the street with, that I'm still boys with, bro. I'm like these dudes' father now, bro. I'm the one giving their kids toys and fucking, now I'm able to get away with that shit. Tank Davis can't be doing that, bro. He's got too much to lose. He's got too much to sacrifice. You can't.
And you know what's funny too. You know what's crazy too, Johnny, is that if shit hits the fan for Tank Davis, and he gets in some type of trouble, those guys out of that group that he hangs out with, one of those guys are going to get him in trouble. One of those guys are going to give him up. They're going to say, fuck him. He can get himself out of that. He's got money. I don't, right? That's the danger of like hanging out with friends that are into things that can one day come back to you. Okay. And this is what I see from the kid. I see him living a dangerous lifestyle. They say, well, he moved to Atlanta. What? You don't think Atlanta has problems, bro? Like you think that problems only exist in one area? No, they exist everywhere. It's the circle of people that you bring around. And the reason he hasn't grown and he's actually he's starting to like fucking look like he hit a ceiling and he's going downwards, right? It's because he's getting reckless, man. Look, if he was getting better, he would have never hit his girlfriend in front of people. Like, come on, right? Like, even if he's an abusive man, let's say he's an abusive man, he would at least be a smart abusive man. Like, all right, bitch, I'll catch you in the house.
Yeah.
No, he does it right there in front of everybody.
Johnny's 28 and he talks like Triple OG.
Hey, man. Bro,
you've been watching a lot of movies, Johnny. You've been watching a lot of movies.
No, bro. I mean, look, dog,
shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Shut the.
All right, sorry about that. Go ahead.
Hey, calm down.
God damn it,
calm
PDA.
down.
God damn it, PDA. I was gonna say, nah, man, but like for real though, bro. Like I like some of these cats, because they still fucking up doing the same shit. And Johnny boy, just because he's a generous man, I'll run him some fucking Happy Meals and shit over there once in a while. Just because
and I
he's a good guy.
guarantee you, Tank is a generous person.
Yeah.
See that little bravado, all that attitude stuff? I can see right through that shit. Like, a lot of that is all bullshit. That dude he's soft. Boys come to him, they ask him money, he gives it to them. Like, how much?
You know what?
All right.
Out of all these four guys, then, Teofimo Lopez has his father, so that's some form of connection there. Ryan Garcia seems to be improving so far since he joined up with the Reynosos. Devin Haney, well, he's got his father too, right?
He's got it together. Like
Yeah.
he's got a good He's got a good family. He may not be the smartest guy in the world, but his family.
And he's been boxing since he's a little kid, and he seems to have been maintaining the same consistency from the amateurs to the pro. So I think the future looks bright for Devin Haney as well. Tank Davis then is really the guy that, I mean, the people he's hanging around with, the behavior outside the ring, the performances inside the ring. I think corruption is right. Look, listen, I don't know if any one trainer is going to be a good permanent solution, but you never know. It can't be any worse than what he's doing now, which is completely falling apart. You know,
listen, man. You Tank Davis could have fucking Ray Arcel, Eddie Futch, and Angelo Dundee in his corner. If he's out late night getting hammered with the homeboys and eating fucking Popeye's chicken the next morning, it ain't gonna help him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
And corruption is right, though. It would be somebody like that. But I just don't think the kid has it in him, man. I don't think the kid has, Floyd's going to say, you know what, fuck this. I'm just going to promote him. I'm not going to get into that. I could see him pissing Floyd off. Like, not listening. Not in the ring. Just the bringing the friends. One of those guys are going to have to accept the terms.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see Floyd doing that. Like Floyd saying, yeah, I'm going to let your boys come here and take you out for drinks afterwards and eat Popeyes or whatever the fuck, and
Did you stop it with the Popeyes?
Still train. Yeah, I mean I like Popeyes too, man.
We don't have any Popeyes here in Canada.
I'll tell you this, man.
I'll tell you
this, bro, and I'm sure he probably knows him too. If Tank's rolling with, and I'm sure he probably is because he's got a little bit of money. I'm sure he's around that shit. If he's rolling with some hitters in Baltimore, and they end up like later, let's say 5 years later, they end up all getting indicted, bro. And he was around when they was doing some shit, bro. They're gonna subpoena his ass to court too.
Yeah, that's a possibility there, man. Corruption. You were gonna say something?
Yeah, I see some parallels between Teofimo Lopez and the Japanese flyweight 4-weight champion Kazuto Ioka. Now, both of them. Ioka's marriage caused a lot of problems between his father, and he literally had to retire as well from the game. And you can see that with Teofimo Lopez, the problems his marriage has had, the situation with his parents as well. There's problems and frictions there. So I don't know whether that's going to potentially materialize in the ring, affect his performances later on.
That's a good. But I raised that point. Yeah, I raised that point at the beginning that he's not incredibly solid yet. Right? Recognize.
Teofimo just got married, right? Or what is it? This girl's his fiance or something like that.
Yeah.
Baby mom.
I think they got married already. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean he's a young man. He's 22. I mean, look, I'm not gonna tell. I made mistakes too, but when you're like 22, man, you're working on a career.
Yeah.
That might not work out, that just might. You got to have a different mindset, man. Look, I hate to, I don't want people to be like, oh, he's a Lomachenko fanboy.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the reasons why that guy's great, man, it's culture. And I'm not saying culture because he's white. No, it's having your shit together, man.
Mm-hmm.
That helps a lot. Having your father and you respect him, even if he gets on your nerves sometimes, you respect him. You take this hierarchy when it comes to knowledge. My father's an older man, so I'm going to listen. That's a talent too.
That's right.
That is a talent, man. To have that, all that structured, and put it in its right place. And these guys might fall short because they don't have that kind
it's
of.
It's an attribute. It's an attribute. And when you're 22, by the way, you're still thinking with your dick.
My dick's on fire.
By the way, let me go to the phone lines real quick because we got 2 last phone calls here. 941, you're on the air. 941. You're on the air.
Speak.
Oh, sorry. I had him on mute.
Hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hey, how you guys doing? This is Giuseppe from Florida. I want to say what's up to Johnny.
Giuseppe.
And
that's my paisan right there. What's going on, brother?
not too much, guys. Just listening to the show. Appreciate your guys' work and what you're doing.
Thank you, man.
I wanted to call in. I know you guys are talking about the top 4 prospects and talking a lot about Gervonta Davis. And I think the biggest thing with the prospects is the promoter. You make there's a lot of parallels between the career of Deontay Wilder and the career of Gervonta Davis. They're both under the PBC. They both have this resume built on mainly no-name fighters and bums. And I just feel like at the end of the day, that's how he's going to end up.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I say that them if they had him, if they had him fighting more than once a year against the scrub, bro, it might do a better job of keeping him in shape and keeping him out of the bullshit. You know what I'm saying, Giuseppe?
Right, I understand. I got you.
Yeah.
And I feel like the younger prospects that are with Bob Arum and Top Rank, I just feel like they got their shit together more than the PBC guys.
It seems like the PBC, that they always talk about Al Heyman being the manager and not the promoter, and yet they're some of the most mismanaged people in the world. I mean, okay, they get paid, but when it comes to actual fights and getting some good dates, consistent fights during the year, doesn't seem to work out too well for them. Caller, we're gonna have to move on, but I wanted to ask you though, out of the 4 guys, then which one do you pick to have the most, to do the most in their careers?
As of right now, I would say Teofimo Lopez.
Oh, all right. Well, there you and why would you say that though? Because of the combination of speed and power, or?
I would say he's been the most tested out of all of them, and he proved it in his fight with Richard Comey. Richard Comey ain't no slouch. He's not. He was a champion in his own right, and he caught him and rightfully won the championship belt. Devin Haney, he won his belt over email. Tank Davis can't seem to stay out of trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And Ryan Garcia seems to be more of just an internet sensation right now, more than a real polished fighter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I even heard he's got a Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and now he's opening up a ChatterBait account. So he's really expanding into the area of pornography there. And by the way, 941, people in the chat room want me to ask you if you could please say yes, Mr. BDA.
If I could say yes, Mr. BDA.
There you go. Okay, yeah, because some people say
you sound. You said it. Nice.
All right, perfect. Thank you. Yeah, because some people, we want to hire you to play next time Vinny calls. Call in yourself as well, okay? Because we want to. Some people are saying that you sound like Vinny. They actually thought you were Vinny when you first called in.
No,
I'm not Vinny. I guarantee you that. No way.
Oh man, how are you going to insult Vinny that way?
Hello, Mr. BDA. This is Vince.
Yeah, but caller, I don't like you insulting Vinny that way. The way you low-keyed.
I like you.
Pricked him in the ass.
Insulting Vinny that way.
What's the matter with you guys? All right, listen, caller, thank you for calling in. We got to move on because we got to end this soon, but we got another caller. But thank you for calling in. All right, man, call back next time.
Take care, Giuseppe.
Yeah, I will. Thank you, guys. Take it
all
easy.
Right. Take it easy, man. That was Giuseppe from Florida. Last call of the night. We go to 619. You're on the air. 619.
Hey, what's up? This is Jose. I'm just here to check up on Gonzalo.
Órale, Jose. How you doing, man?
Jose.
Pretty good. What's up?
Hey, well, listen, now that you want Gonzalo to talk, he's not talking. So when you don't want him to talk, he talks. And when you want him to talk, he shuts his mouth. All right. Jose, what's on your mind, man?
No, I catch some of the shows on replay.
Oh, okay.
Because I can never get your guys' schedule, man. You guys are like weird, man. Like.
Well, you in San Diego, yeah?
Man. Yeah.
You in San Diego, Jose?
It comes. It's like the Bible says. Armageddon. It comes like a thief in the night. Never know when the show comes on.
No, but yeah, look, listen, Jose. We're definitely on Wednesdays, Fridays. Wednesday and Fridays we're usually on at the same time, 5 or 5:30, and then all the way up to 8 or 9, depending on the call. This one
I got you. So which was it? Which days? Which days?
Wednesday and Fridays.
All right, Wednesday and Fridays. Okay, that's easy. I got it. And I nailed it. Now I can create somewhere to go by, somewhere to go off.
Absolutely, man. By the way, these guys
narrowed it down to 2 days.
Yeah, it can't be that hard. By the way,
Wednesday.
The guys in the panel, you guys set off a storm there. Now everybody's debating in the chat room what's better, KFC or Popeyes. I don't even know why you brought Popeyes in the first place.
I had KFC today. I had a KFC.
Is that right?
I don't need Popeyes, but I had.
I like KFC's mashed potato better.
Yeah.
Than Popeyes.
Yeah.
Sure.
I had the big bundle meals, coleslaw, mashed potatoes, and three pieces crispy. I had to mix it up.
You guys are making me hungry. Hey, wait a minute. They're still open despite the whole COVID thing?
I had drive-through, so
the drive-through, yeah.
They're doing like regular.
Well, that's good. That's good, man. Well, listen, what's on your mind, boxing-wise?
Hey, right now when you were talking about the PBC, well, what's there rumor to that the UFC was gonna buy the PBC, or that the PBC wasn't doing that good?
Yeah, that was a rumor a couple of weeks back, wasn't it? Or did it re-emerge today? I don't know, but I'd heard that supposedly they were going to sell.
I mean,
I'd heard that they were.
I always thought that they did pretty good. They had pretty good cards, on TV, regular TV.
Well, listen, they had a hedge fund. They had a hedge fund, and that's why they were getting all the money from. But they weren't making any money, man. They weren't making that much of a profit, apparently.
They were like on prime time, huh? Like I remember I saw like a Lamont Peterson one with Errol Spence. That was wasn't that early in the day?
I don't know, man, but it wouldn't surprise me if eventually Al Heyman tries to siphon that company off to somebody else to keep pumping money into it. Jimmy keeps saying that he's getting sued. That the people from Walling and Reed, I think, are suing him. Listen, I got my facts. Don't take my word for it, but that's what I remember, the gist of it. I'm not really all that interested in. I don't follow that too much about the PBC now.
What would you say is the best promoter right now? The best promoter.
Well, you know what, guys? Who wants to take that one?
Bob Arum, because of experience.
Still, yeah.
Yeah, I still give it to the old dog.
The La Hoya's not doing too good, huh?
Jose, I gotta say, Grandpa Bob. Listen, Al Heyman's a chump. He's got a good handful of fighters, but Bob Arum's doing good, man. I mean, he just signed Josh Taylor. He just signed Inouye. That's 2 top 10 pound for pound guys on top of what he already had, bro. Yeah. And Eddie Hearn. As far as Eddie Hearn goes, I like the zone. I like Eddie Hearn, but in the same breath, bruh,
a lot of people
pull your tongue out of AJ's asshole.
A lot of people talk shit about Bob Arum, but that guy's cool, man. Bob Arum, he's a cool guy.
Yeah,
I mean,
Top Rank got the most pound for pound fighters. Better BF, Lomachenko, Crawford. They got the best fighters.
Yeah, but wasn't he saying that PBC would pay their guys too much? The guy that was funny. Like, how can you blame somebody for wanting to make?
You know what, Eddie Hearn?
Remember that?
Yeah, I remember that, man. But you know what? If you guys are saying that it's Bob Arum, Eddie Hearn has to be a close second because he's got the second biggest name in boxing, and that's Anthony Joshua, and he keeps that deal with
Eddie Hearn's cool. Eddie Hearn's cool, but he picks the fights. He ducks fights, and then well, I don't want to open up a can of worms, but
yeah, then you want to.
Jose, what I say with Turn is he's doing some good stuff, but in the same
another 3 hours live.
No, we're not gonna go another 3 hours. We're actually gonna end it now because it's pretty late now, and I think we covered pretty much what we wanted to cover. But listen, Jose, thank you for calling in, man.
But yeah, Eddie Hearn, yeah. All right, man. So Wednesday and Fridays at what time?
5
Yeah, Pacific Standard.
Pacific Standard, that would be 8. No, excuse me. What am I saying? So if we do it
Yeah,
at
I
5
just
here, no. If we do it at 5 here, then
what's the topic? What?
hold on. Let me ask you a question.
What's
If
the
it's 5
topic
p.m.
next week?
here, Jose, if it's 5 p.m. here, it would be 2 p.m. over there, Pacific.
So it's 2 p.m. Wednesday and Friday.
That's right. Yes.
2 p.m.
2 p.m.
Damn, where the fuck you at, man? Saudi Arabia.
No, man, we're on the East Coast. We're on the East Coast here in Canada. We're not in Saudi Arabia. All right, listen, Jose, we got.
East Coast. All right. Cool.
All right, Jose, we gotta go, man. Take it easy. Thank you for calling in.
All right, later.
BDA, look, we got BDA real quick before I know you're about to end it. Bro, we got listen. One of these days, dog. Well, before like fight starts getting back and shit, we got to do that Mafia / Sopranos fucking show. One of these. I'm like BDA. I'm like Lefty. Donnie, you gotta give me the boat, Donnie. Give me the boat.
Yeah, definitely, for sure, man. We gotta do an episode. I was rewatching season 6 of The Sopranos. I remember when I saw it, I was like, I didn't really dig it all that much. But now, rewatching it a little older now, I go, yeah, man, that's it's gotta be one of the best seasons, man. But I'll give you my explanation why when we do the show that day. But listen, guys, thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. Covered a lot of ground on this whole Devin Haney, on the quartet of the young fellas over at lightweight. Haney, Tank Davis, Teofimo Lopez, and Ryan Garcia. You really do have to have wherewithal and mental strength to be able to make it in the pro ranks. By the way, before we go, I forgot to say thank you to John Gonzalez, because we're going through the phone calls. But John, thank you for your contribution. And he says, this is for Jose and Gonzalo. All right, thank you very much, man. I'm going to be keeping the money, though. So, but I guess the spirit of the donation goes to Gonzalo. And hold on, corruption. You want to say something, or because I think I saw you.
No.
Okay. And that's about it, man. Listen, guys, if you guys have an idea of a show that you want to hear or a specific video that you want us to do about, just let us know in the comment section. All right. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to BDA Live, and that's about it, man. I want to recognize King Bucho, my co-host, who was here, Johnny Boy, Gonzalo, and of course, Corruption in Boxing. It's been a while since you'd been on, man. So really appreciate you dropping by and giving us your input. And yeah, man, that's about it, guys. Anything else you want to say before we go?
Respect.
Yeah, he said respect. I think I'm cutting off here. All right.
Yeah, will these guys ever face each other?
They will, man. They have to. Otherwise, they're going to have to hear from me. All right. So that's about it, guys. Thank you for joining us. I'm just checking up something here. That's why I'm stumbling and stalling for time. But listen, guys, thank you very much for joining us. Again, I want to thank Corruption in Boxing, Gonzalo, Recognize the Matrix, King Bucho, Johnny Boy, and all the callers. Thank you guys for calling in and giving us your input. And of course, I cannot forget everybody that joined us and listened to us. Seamus Carey, Guerrero de la Info, Foul Boxing, Tarvis the Chimp, Lomachenko, Official Scorecard Boxing, Triple JJJ, Amak PvP. Who else we got here? Lance Meyer. Sounds like the name of a fucking gangster or something. The Quags, Joe Cool. I know Bay Area was in there and called. I don't know if that was actually Bay Area that called in. Overhand, The Quags, Davey. I saw Brown and Black Boxing in the chat room as well earlier. Shout out to him. Check out his channel. Body Aces, Cabell T, Overhand, John Gonzalez, Saint Britt, T-Tone. Didn't call in, T-Tone. What's the matter with you? Cabell, and many more. If I forgot my team over yours, guys, thank you for joining us. If I missed anybody, you know how it works here. Black Lomachenko as well was in here. Shout out to him. Thank you for joining us. Have a good night. We'll catch you on Wednesday or maybe earlier if something big happens. Take it easy, fellas.